604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane. Off and running. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We got a busy show for you today. Give you that rundown right quick. Haggai Davis could be on a hotline for a cup of tech gumbo this morning. Haggai calling in from he's right down I-10 a little bit to this week. So I appreciate him. He's going to hop on board via the phone. In our 7 o'clock hour, we've got Charlie Davis from the mayor's office at 7:05. We're going to unpack what happened last night at the Metro Council meeting. We've got Jenni Peters from Varsity Sports at 7:15. We're going to talk about what the potential future of Brooks Park, City Park, and the Perkins Road underpass could look like. And we've got Crime Stoppers coming your way at 7:35. And we got one guest only in the 8 o'clock hour. That would be our Ag Commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain. Bree Lynn, hey. Have you been around for a Dr. Strain segment yet?
There I am. Yeah. There I am. I have not yet.
Okay, buckle up. But wait, are you bailing at 8?
I am, but I may have to stay around. No, I'm going to tune in on Facebook.
Okay, yes, definitely do that because it is a ride every single time. We got a lot to cover with Dr. Strain because we had the blizzard. What does that mean for our strawberry crop? What does that mean for our crawfish season? And of course, we're going to talk about the incredible edible egg as well. But first, before we get to anything else, we got to start off with top stories and trending. Let's go. Coastal advocates are pressing state officials for answers on the future of the $3 billion Mid-Barataria sediment diversion project, an unbelievable wetlands restoration plan that it's been years in the works, but it's been thrown into doubt because of opposition, not just from Governor Jeff Landry, but before Governor Landry, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser had some problems with it as well. A few of those answers have emerged after a public hearing on Tuesday on the state's coastal plan. Advocates there urged that the state move forward with the project, but CPRA Executive Director Glenn Leday instead focused his comments on the other large-scale works on the books for the coming fiscal year. That might be hinting towards something moving away from Mid-Barataria. Attorney General Liz Murrill said Wednesday she had filed paperwork requesting the extradition of a New York doctor accused of supplying abortion-causing drugs to West Baton Rouge Parish to face criminal charges. New York's governor said previously her state would not comply. 4 men accused of running a drug trafficking organization out of Baton Rouge and Prairieville were arrested after a similar investigation into the alleged gang back in 2020. East Baton Rouge Parish deputies said they have been investigating the gang for the last 3 months before raiding 6 locations in 2 different cities on Tuesday. 5 of those locations were homes in Baton Rouge. 1 was out in Prairieville. Like I said, they did arrest 4 people and copious amounts of drugs and guns. Rather than letting the Recovery School District step in, the city of Baker is closing 2 of its F-rated public schools, Baker Heights Elementary and Baker Middle, and placed them both under the control of its highest performing school, the K-8 Park Ridge Academic Magnet School. That'll take place, I believe, after the end of this school year. After a 5-hour-long Metro Council meeting, we are nowhere with the library funding issue. It was a packed house. Both sides wanted to be heard. In the end, the Metro Council did not vote for a millage renewal. What does this mean moving forward? Like I said, we're going to talk with Charlie Davis from the mayor's office at 7:05 to find out more. Ooh. What's trending there?
All right. The Senate on Wednesday confirmed Tulsi Gabbard as President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence.
It's hard to believe we're still in the confirmation process for so many of these cabinet and high post members. Gabbard's impressive. She's an impressive woman.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. About 75,000 federal employees accepted President Donald Trump's buyout offer, which is closed now to applicants.
So, yeah, they got an email like 20 minutes before it closed, and they got an email from the president saying the fork in the road is now closed. A judge put a hold on the buyout, and then once he lifted the hold, they moved forward with it. 75,000 employees going to get paid through September for not working.
I want to do that.
Well, yeah, but think about it. This is a win-win, okay? If you don't want to work for the federal government anymore, you want to go work in some other form or fashion, either for a state, local government, or in the private sector, and you want to bank those dollars along the way. Now, you're going to have to go out and find yourself health care because you're not working there anymore. You're just
Correct.
getting your salary.
Cobra, all the
Right.
yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, you could be double dipping on your salary. Now, from the government's end, we're streamlining here. This is what the goal is. We're streamlining here. We're looking to reduce the overall size of this monolith that we call the federal government. So to me, this feels like both sides of those 75,000 people. It looks like both sides are winning.
Gotcha. LSU gymnast and influencer Livy Dunn will be the crew of Endymion's Grand Marshal when the parade rolls over Mardi Gras weekend, of course.
March 1st, yeah. Man, I don't know on this one, Brie Lynn. I'm not 100% sure. Nobody's doubting her level of fame and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know how inside the box we are because we're in Louisiana.
Correct.
Versus the rest of the country and world. Like, Endymion needs to be that big dog worldwide. You know?
Correct. Down here, we appreciate her. We know who she is, but do you realize, like you said, everybody comes in for tourism for Mardi Gras.
I know. Is she a draw? Am I going to fly to New Orleans to see Livy Dunn?
Right.
And also, she's so tiny.
I know she's going to get thrown off the float.
Or can you even see her? It's a fun choice, though, because it's a young choice.
Now, I wonder if he will make a surprise appearance.
Paul Skeens?
Yes.
Very well could.
Now, that could be a draw. Not that I'm doubting
both up there?
Yeah. Now, that could be a draw.
I don't know if they've done that. Has Endymion ever done a couple before?
Interesting.
Gosh, I need like a Mardi Gras historian. I need
like
Arthur
I don't
Hardy.
know enough about it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I need Errol Laborde. Never thought I'd say that at 6:10 in the morning. But it is 6:10 in the morning. All right, well, you know what? I'll see if I can't look that up and see if Endymion's ever had a couple as Grand Marshal. We are coming up on our first break. When we come back, LSU baseball. Well, speaking of Paul Skeens, LSU baseball takes to the field tomorrow. And that'll be the beginning of their season. And I'm a little bit pumped about who's going to be on the bump for LSU. We'll also talk a little LSU men's basketball. Before we take our break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website if you want to check them out. LandmarkBankLA.com. If you're in Bruley, Zachary, if you're in Denham Springs, if you're in Greensburg, if you're in Clinton, that's where you're going to find your locations of Landmark Bank. They are the quintessential small town bank. They are the quintessential relationship bank. You want to not just have a bank, you want to have a banker. And when it comes to your personal banking, whether you talk about checking, savings, whether you talk about money market accounts, CDs, IRAs, health savings accounts, whether you talk about borrowing, you got consumer loans, you got mortgage loans. If you're talking about your business, they can help you out over there as well. But the point is, you're going to have a banker, not just a bank. Visit them online at landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com. All right, and we're not doing top stories and trending at 7 o'clock because the top story is about the library funding thing, and I've got somebody from the mayor's office coming on the hotline instead. Like the normal 7 o'clock hour open, and I'll go right to the hotline. The entire band Kiss? I want to say he's right. I think he's right about that. You know what? They've done this a lot. No, multiple people. Wait, no. That's not just Grand. Okay. Last year was Sting. The year before that was Tulane coach Willie Fritz. The year before that, Raymond Arroyo, who's been on this show. Year before that, Flo Rida. Before that, Rod Stewart. Before that, okay, 2017. This is listed. Is this just the Grand Marshals? Oh no, this is Grand Marshals and performers. Okay. Because in 2017 they had Casey and the Sunshine Band, Kiss, and Flo Rida. Oh my God, 2011 they had Anderson Cooper. But I mean, you got names on here like Dan Aykroyd, Kevin Costner, Leanne Rimes, Jason Alexander, Britney Spears, Emeril Lagasse, David Schwimmer.
And then you have Livy Dunn.
Yeah,
I know.
It's like I don't know where she fit. Kenny Rogers. 1987, Kirk Cameron. Mm-hmm. Right. But once I see Willie Fritz on that list, who was the Tulane football coach, my opinion kind of changes. My opinion is like, yeah, Libby's in that number. Looking at rolling over to 616 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. It is sports time. We're going to start with LSU men's basketball from last night. Tigers, it's such an infuriating season because if you look at the final scores and you look at the box scores and you look at the schedule, LSU is 12-12 overall, 1-10 in conference, and it looks like they're not good. And when you look, you count wins and losses, so they're not. But when you watch the ball games, and I watched last night, they battle the entire time. They are one guy away. One guy away. In fact, Coach McMahon said it in his pregame interview last night when Chris Blair was talking to him right before tip-off. McMahon said it, going up against who were they going up against in the previous game before that? But so they battled for 36 minutes. That was he's like, we battled and we were in it for 36 minutes before in those final 4 minutes, things stretch out. You get one more guy in the mix. You get a little bit more rest. You get legs underneath you. That's all you need. That's all this team needs. And I know it feels like the separation's a lot. You got a 12-point loss last night, but that game was back and forth until that final media timeout. Come back from the final media timeout and a 6-point Arkansas lead stretched out to a 10-point Arkansas lead. But there were times where they just plugged it up in the meanwhile. For LSU last night, they were led in scoring by Robert Miller III. He was impressive. He was 8 of 13 from the floor. He played 29 minutes. So out of a 40-minute ball game, that's what you're getting from him. Cam Carter had 13 in 34 minutes. Carter was 4 of 15 from the floor, 3 of 7 from behind 3-point range. What they're really missing out on here is someone who can be more consistent from behind the 3-point arc. Jordan Sears has been that guy on and off. He was over 4 from behind the 3-point line last night. LSU, as a team, 5 of 20 beyond the arc. That just doesn't get it done. Having 2 guys in double figures doesn't get it done. So they're one guy short. Like I said, LSU moves to 12-12 overall, 1-10 in conference play. Looking ahead to Saturday, who does men have coming up on Saturday? They've got, they'll be at Oklahoma on Saturday. That'll be a 5 p.m. tip-off. I believe it'll be on the SEC network. More importantly, it will be on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Oklahoma's another chance at a win here because they're 16-8 overall, 3-8 in conference play. The difference between the 3-win Oklahoma team and the 3-win Arkansas team is when those 3 wins happen. Arkansas has been hot. Since LSU beat them a little over a month ago, they're now 4-3 in the conference. So looking ahead to Saturday, it's a potential win. It's possible. Moving over to baseball, sophomore left-hander Cade Anderson will get the start on Friday when the Tigers open the 2025 season against Purdue Fort Wayne. Anderson, who is from Madisonville, Louisiana, prepped over there at Heap Field. Where's Heap Field? That's on the campus of St. Paul's in Covington. Says it means a lot to get a chance to start on Fridays. Cut 16, please.
Overall, with this team, I think we have probably 5 Friday night starters. So it's obviously an honor to get the ball first, but definitely got to continue to work as the season goes on because my spot's not guaranteed every week. So continuing to kind of build on my starts and continue from there.
Anderson appeared in 18 games last season, made 9 starts, finished with a 4.2 record overall, 3.99 ERA. He's a lefty. He struck out 59 and 38.1 innings. He's added nearly 25 pounds since arriving at LSU, because who doesn't? Which added some speed to his fastball. He says he's also working on secondary pitches. Cut 17.
I had some ups and downs last year, and that helped. And I think learning from those situations, and I'm ultimately, I think picking up a slider has been a big help of mine. Just continuing to pound the mitt and get in the zone a lot more often.
That slider's added to a breaking ball, a changeup, and of course a dominant fastball. First pitch is at 2 p.m. Here's the Fox Business Report. Selector 2. Right here, Facebook. Right here. That's the brotherhood right there. I do traffic at 24. Let's go ahead and start on your interstates. Let's start on the west side this morning. If you're on I-10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge, you're looking good right now. It is smooth sailing to get over here. Both bridges, by the way, are wide open. I-110 is wide open as well. Working east back to the west now. I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. Minor delays on 12 westbound as you're hopping up on Range Avenue or from Range Avenue. You will tap the brakes a little bit, but it clears up quickly. It'll slow back down again as you get closer to that looks like closer to Sherwood Forest Boulevard is where you'll start hitting the brakes one more time. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great as well. On your surface streets, be on the lookout for an accident with injury. Woodwick at O'Neill Lane. Got another stalled vehicle reported about 15 minutes ago. Fairwoods at Linden Street. And from just before 6 o'clock, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office unit crash. South Acadian at Baywell Street. So that's probably still being worked at this time. That's your look at traffic from the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. 625 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Did I email you 3 cuts?
You did.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Cup of Tech Gumbo with Haggai Davis coming up in our next segment. Looking forward to this. There's so much we got to cover with Haggai this morning. Man, I just digging in on a couple of the highlights that he sent over last night. As I was reading through them, there's I was talking with Haggai yesterday, and he was saying it's getting difficult to navigate the tech world without getting into the political world. When you've got one of the biggest tech names out there holding press conferences from the White House, this Venn diagram is getting closer to one circle. And one of the things we're going to talk about is Google and Apple Maps. Gulf of America is a thing now.
I saw that.
It's iPhone official.
Yep.
I know. Isn't your life better?
I love it. I love it.
Do you?
It just makes me laugh.
So there's that part of it, but I mean,
I know.
When we went to the polls, we went to the polls looking for change. Now this is a change, yes, but we went for change that make our lives better. My life is exactly the same no matter what it's named.
Are you sure? I think my life is great.
Do you think your life is better because
Gulf
of that?
of America?
That's one of the topics we'll be covering with Haggai in our next segment. Right now, though, I'm kind of talking about the Gulf of America, because what's the Gulf of America full of? A lot of seafood. And Congressman Clay Higgins sent a letter to President Trump yesterday advocating for tariffs and stronger trade enforcement on seafood imports from China, Ecuador, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, basically just about anywhere else instead of our own local seafood. Deborah Long with the Southern Shrimp Alliance told our news partners over at Louisiana Radio Network, the U.S. shrimp industry is facing a financial crisis because of cheap imports.
According to NOAA Fisheries data, the value of the fishermen's catch has fallen about half from 2021 to 2023, and it remained close to that level last year.
So there's a concern about some banned antibiotics that are contained in imported shrimp. Higgins urged the administration to impose anti-dumping and countervailing duties, which that would enforce stricter testing protocols. Long says Higgins is leading the call for stricter standards.
And that there should be up to a 100% tariff, and that we should be destroying shipments that fail to meet our health standards.
Long says that compared to the EU, where all shipments are tested before being shipped and 50% are tested again when delivered, the U.S. tests less than far less than that when it comes to imported seafood.
It is important that we have our standards as high as the other major markets for shrimp, because when our standards are so low, we become the dumping ground for contaminated shrimp.
And this is one where we always seek the cheapest price. And if we give nasty shrimp dumped on us, we're going to get the cheapest price. Now, we're not going to get the best product in that regard. But this is why, when you talk about this in any other product out there, when you talk about this for, do you buy American? Do you check the label to see if it's made in China? Well, if you're talking about a T-shirt or a Yeti mug or something, I don't know where Yetis are made, but if you're talking about a T-shirt or a tumbler or your bed sheets, whatever, I don't think that matters as much as what you put in your body. When it comes to what you're physically ingesting, food is fuel. What are you fueling your body off of? What's going in there that you're actually taking in? And I don't know that we take this seriously enough. Now, everything's supposed to be labeled, and the restaurants that serve local seafood are supposed to let you know they're serving local seafood, or vice versa. If they're not, you're supposed to know that as well. It's another topic we can cover with Dr. Strain when he comes in here at 8:15. But this is one that I know I ask about. No matter where I'm at, within Louisiana, no matter where I'm at, I'm asking if we've got Louisiana seafood. That's just my first question out of my mouth. Is this local? Are we getting it here? Don't mind if I have to pay a little more, because I know that little more is going to Louisiana shrimpers. It's going to Louisiana fishermen. And I also know that the quality is going to be that much better. The advantages are both medical and economic. Although, it'll cost you a few more cents a pound. One of the things I'm curious about, though, is if we haven't gotten there yet with the oversight, what's your level of confidence that we will? If we've not yet gotten there with testing at a greater percentage, what makes you think that something else written on paper is going to get it done? I mean, we have plenty of regulation out there right now. I don't know what double secret probation does for this particular topic. We're coming up on news. Before we get you to news, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. You can check them out online at vexeuropean.com, celebrating their 10th anniversary. I'm due to head back over there again. I'm due for an oil change. Well, Brian, it's just an oil change. Why are you going to Vex? Oh, let me tell you, because I want them knowing everything that happens under my hood. Because I want them to be first and foremost when it comes to following the, call it the health of your vehicle. I drive a 17-year-old car. It needs to be kept up with a lot. And the only reason that thing's still running is because of Vinny and his team over at Vex, celebrating 10 years. It's pretty amazing. In business for 10 years, over on the backside of Industriplex on Benefit Drive. I would check them out online, though, at vexeuropean.com. Vexeuropean.com is the website. If you drive a European vehicle, they're your go-to over at vexeuropean.com. I need a countdown. Where are we at?
You got about 2 seconds.
Okay, let's go ahead to ABC News. Can you go back through the log one more time and look to see when these lives are supposed to hit? Yep. Vinny's, Vex. All right, well, I knocked that out early then. 7-Eleven. And then Cajun Soft Wash. Oh, yeah, hit LRN. Okay. Keith, no, they do not. They do not do body work. So I don't have a sponsor on my show that does body work. So this is an unpaid endorsement. Medine's Collision Center. Medine's Collision Center. So I used to go to Complete Collision, but my guy Doug got out of the business. I need to check in with him. I wonder how Doug's doing. He might. Yeah. But Chris and Domenica Medine, they're just top-notch people. You want to talk about just absolute. Oh, Haggai's trying to call. All right, sorry, I got distracted right there. You hit the green button again. By the way, good morning, Christy, if you're still in, if the circus hasn't started yet. All right, so Yeah, Madine's used to sponsor. When I first did the show with Matt Kennedy, Madine's was a sponsor. Got to know Chris and Dominica real well. And one of the biggest reasons I'll speak on their behalf is not just the work they do, but the level to which they will fight your insurance company. I mean, they will like naked wrestle an insurance company in the woods to make sure that you're taken care of. So yeah, that's when the show came back in 2019, Complete Collision hopped on board. And you saw that same wait, what?
Sorry. I'm wheezing. Stop it.
I don't see another comment here.
Byron says, Brian is being modest. Brian allowed the guy to retire on the beach due to his frequent visits to Complete Collision.
Some people have listened to the show too long.
So they know everything.
I bought Doug a boat. Well, get in the collision business. No, I had a run where over the course of 1 year, I had 3 different, call them accidents. One was a legit accident. I got run over by an 18-wheeler. Not really. I got sideswiped by an 18-wheeler on the interstate. Yeah. One, I was, I backed into a light pole. Yeah. And what was the third one? Oh, the third one, I got run off the road and bottomed out. And it was all within the course. And I'd never been in an accident before in my life. Like, not since high school. Yeah, not since high school. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely, that sponsorship was, that endorsement was full-throated because I was there a lot. Yeah. Opening weekend at the box. Everybody's out on the streets for Valentine's Day with their reservations. What's the forecast going to look like? Here's WBRZ meteorologist McCade Cowan. Yeah, you want to talk about PTSD? Try getting hit by an 18-wheeler. At like, to this day, I can't be on the interstate and pass an 18-wheeler without just like, it's the time that now once I'm clear of him, and I was in the left-hand lane and he was in the center lane and we were on 10 eastbound, coming up in between Acadian and College, and I was driving like my third hour open. I was driving my Ford Focus, and he just didn't see my tiny little ass. Yep. 637 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. You know how we do on a Thursday. It's time for a cup of tech gumbo. Joining us now on the hotline, because he's down I-10. He's actually a little bit closer to the Gulf of America than we are right now. Haggai Davis is in with us. How are you, brother? Haggai? Is the phone pot on and up? All right, how about now?
There we go.
There he is. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. You got so many good topics this week. I feel stupid talking about the Gulf of America, but this is where it's at, and technologically speaking, it looks like all the digital maps have caught up with it. Are we seeing the same thing as the rest of the world?
No, actually, we're not. It Google and Apple Maps as well. Just depends on where you are. If you're in the United States and you go to Google Maps, you scroll down to what we grew up swimming in was the Gulf of Mexico. It now says Gulf of America.
Right.
But I use a VPN on my computer, and so I just tried. I went over to Morocco and VPN through Morocco and went back to the same map, and it said Gulf of Mexico in parentheses Gulf of America. And
in parentheses?
In parentheses, that's
Huh?
right. But then I went to Mexico City, and it says Gulf of Mexico.
I wouldn't imagine Mexico City would be on board with this.
No, so it Google and Apple Maps as well. They've come out and said, look, whatever the local government says, that's what we're going to show.
Mm-hmm.
And so the U.S. government says Gulf of America, so Google Maps is showing Gulf of America to the United States. Now, they have not changed Mount McKinley or Denali or, Denali or McKinley, depending upon which decade you're in, as to what we're going to call that big rock in Alaska. But I mean, it's currently still listed as Denali in Alaska. So it's essentially which ones, what things they are changing on Google Maps and Apple Maps and what they're not.
All right. So one of the questions that I'm, as this topic keeps coming up, I roll my eyes and ignore it because it doesn't change my life in any way, shape, or form. It's not what I voted for. It's not the work I want to see get done. But who gets to make this call? Like, is there some kind of council that determines what the names of the, international bodies of water are?
It's the Department of State.
But the Department of State is ours.
Right.
Like, is there something that determines?
Like, if Trump wants to call, if he wants to change the Atlantic Ocean to the Trump Ocean, he can say that's what we're going to call it from now on. And in the United States, it will officially, while he's still president, be referred to as the Trump Ocean. But that's the way it plays.
So there's nothing that determines worldwide. There's nothing that determines worldwide that we're all going to call it this or we're all going to call it that.
Bodies of water change on maps all over the country. Countries change names depending upon where you are. Rivers change names depending on which country you're in. We're in the United States. We're used to, okay, this is what it's called. We're not screwing with it.
Right.
But around the world, things change with new governmental regime changes all the time.
So I guess we could chalk this up the same way that Europeans put the month before the date or the date before the month.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Or use the metric system.
I mean, when I write a date, I write 13 Feb 2025.
Right, but I mean, we remember dates as in like, I mean, my birthday is 11/9, not 9/11.
Well, that's true. That's why I don't like to use the numbers, just numbers. I always write the month out because I stay away from that confusion.
No. So, and I will say this before we move on, because we got more serious stuff to discuss.
Yeah.
But one of the things I have liked about the coverage is when the White House press secretary has been talking about this, when she answers questions about this, just about every single time that I've seen it. It's been more than a half dozen times so far. Just about every time I've seen, she says the body of water off the coast of Louisiana. So while this does nothing to make my life better overall, it does warm my heart a little bit to say, you know what, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, y'all can all bite me because that's our body of water.
You're damn right it is.
All right, we're going to talk about.
Did you notice on the Super Bowl there was a Chevron ad where they talked about drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Gulf of America?
No, I did not notice that.
Yes, there was one of the petrochemical giants that they said they're going to be doing more drilling in the Gulf of America in a Super Bowl commercial ad.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I mean, if everybody gets on board and starts saying it the same way, then, this will just happen organically from here. The shift has been happening with the official name, but you know what? X is still Twitter. And I don't know that that's going to change.
Never.
Right. As you can call it what you want, but I'm not going to new Coke Twitter.
No.
So, all right, tell me about Google's reCAPTCHA.
So reCAPTCHA, when it was first started, was okay, are you a bot or are you not? But over time, this has now morphed into quite the profit center for Google, because Google, while yes, it does still slow down about 15% of the bots that go to these different websites and sign in. It's much more about building profiles and selling ads, and to the effect of almost $900 billion last year, or over the past several years rather, is the revenue that Google's reCAPTCHA has been pulling together. Because when you use this reCAPTCHA, well, they know what websites you're going to, they know what you're doing on these websites, and so they're building that profile to sell ads, based upon your profile. And so it has become a profit center, not a true defeat the bot, because most nowadays the artificial intelligence can just blow through almost all of the CAPTCHAs and reCAPTCHAs.
Does it? Okay. Did the CAPTCHA ever work? Like when it says, this is the thing where it says like, which of these pictures contains a crosswalk? Like,
yes.
So that's what we're talking. Did it ever actually work?
It did for a little bit, and until the bots were programmed well enough to go right on by it.
Okay.
I mean, artificial intelligence, it can see pictures now. We know how to
right.
Which of these 6 pictures has the motorcycle in it? Well, we know the AI knows what a motorcycle looks like, and so CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA, they're all completely meaningless when it comes to stopping bots from advancing onto websites. It's really about building out profiles and selling more advertising.
What's the next option, though, if you want to keep the bots out?
It's a great question, and I wish I had a good answer.
Well, then
for
I'll let you ponder it for just a minute, because we got to take a quick break. When we come back,
okay.
After we check after we check traffic and your money now, a cup of tech gumbo will continue. In fact, we'll talk about that, and we will also cover if you have an iPhone, it's time for an upgrade or an update to your software. That's coming up next. I may have gone a minute too long here. If I didn't have... Oh, no, Vinny's was 6:45? Vex? Okay, then we're good. We should be good. Okay, then we should be good here. This should take us right up to your money now. Which, by the way, you flipped the flipper back already? Okay. Who? Oh, I know. And like, I'll get copy for a commercial sometimes, and I'll make sure it's done before I leave, and then I'll do the commercial in Scotty's voice. Yeah, but the most recent one was the Town Square Pizza and King Cakes. Okay. I mean, there are things like, Michelle had sent me some lines to do for a spot, and she said, I want to see how it sounds. If I know going in that, like, okay, we're having some fun here, we're seeing what works, what doesn't, this might or might not be right. But like, hey, I need this immediately. We got a quick turnaround here, and then. Yeah. I don't know, Tim, but that's at the same time though, I realized that It's about the overall product. It's about the performance of the product, and it's about being a part of a team. Right. Right. You know, sometimes on a team, you practice a play, you never run. Yep. Yeah. Hey, if you were to sit down and do this for like 2-3 weeks in a row, you would have it forever. Yeah. Yeah, but instead you get 2 days, and then we won't call on you again for 6 months, and you'll forget the whole thing. I know. Yeah, John's back tomorrow, he says. Yep. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I've been sick since getting back from Washington, and I don't think it's anything contagious. It's just what I've been carrying, and I've been extremely fatigued. Like I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna test because I feel good enough to work. Right. Yeah. We don't play the intro again. Bum, 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 bum. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gembu rolling right along. 2 nights ago, my iPhone told me I had an update to install, so I installed the update. Why? Because when Haggai's on, he says take your updates when iPhone offers them because they often provide great security patches. Apparently, that's the case here. Let's talk about it. What's this latest sophisticated attack?
So this update is 18.3.1. So it's not a big update, but Apple's come out and said this is an immediate emergency update that you need to be able to get this on your phone. There's a physical attack that can disable the USB restricted mode. So if your phone is locked down, this vulnerability can bypass that restriction so that anybody can jab a USB or plug into your phone and get into it. So it really is about protecting what's on your phone. It's a vulnerability that you need to get. If you have already upgraded to the 18.0 iOS, then this is a quick upgrade. If you're still running iOS 17, whatever version of that, then you're going to need to go through a large upgrade to get to it. But it's nonetheless, it's one of these that when Apple says this is an emergency, they're not kidding. It's a real serious update.
Well, and when the update comes across your phone, there's not levels of emergency there. It's just like a little gray background. I would like to see an update come across as a software update is available and have it be in red, like to grab your attention a little further. But I'm the guy, Haggai, that as soon as I see it, I do it because I have this fear within me that when I set my alarm, I go to bed, and my phone's going to take over in the middle of the night and update itself, and then not turn itself back on.
Absolutely. And we've said for years, if you're going from iOS 17 to iOS 18, well, that's a major upgrade. And you don't want to be the first one when 18.0 comes out. You typically want to wait till 18.1. Well, we're now at 18.3. So the iOS 18 is a stable operating system. And when they put out patches and updates, it's usually pretty good. You can go ahead and do the upgrade immediately.
All right, we're going to pivot one more topic before we get you out of here. And I appreciate you hopping on the phone this morning. I know it's less than ideal circumstances in the Davis household right now, reenacting the Tom Hanks, Shelley Long movie Money Pit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end is what I'm being told.
Yeah, I'm sure the contractor said 2 weeks, huh?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, so the unintended consequences of tariffs. Let's talk about buying cheap garbage from China. I got a kick out of this story. I'm sorry. I know like some people are butthurt about the tariffs. I know there are going to be overall, ebbs and flows to how it affects the economy. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction, but this made me laugh.
So if you've been a fan of buying things on Temu or Shin, where you can buy those $5 t-shirts directly from China, or the $8 hat or $10 sneakers or whatever, well, you're going to get a real nice surprise, because the new tariffs that are in place add about $100 to $120 more to that $5 purchase.
Right.
And what was going on was Shin and Temu and a couple of the Chinese sites like that were taking advantage of a loophole that anything under $800 was duty free. Well, the Trump administration has eliminated that loophole, and there's people on TikTok and Reels and all these different video platforms just bemoaning the fact that DHL or UPS is having to tack on this $100+ shipping fee to pay for the tariffs.
Yep.
And people they can't believe their $5 t-shirt is now $126.
But you get to see it before you hit purchase, though.
Not always. According to some of these videos, it shows up as a tariff. I mean, because if you're in China and you're buying that shirt, it's still $5. But if you're here, it's $5. But when it crosses the customs slaps that tariff on it, and now it's $125.
I don't know. Well, okay, so when I buy things from the TikTok shop, I go to purchase something, and then it shows me what my total bill is with the shipping before I confirm it, before they can charge my credit card.
But where is it coming from? If it's coming from a seller here in the United States, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's coming from China now, you're not going to know what that's going to be until it hits customs.
So what's the out here? I mean, can you turn around and say, I don't want it anymore, I'm not paying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess it gets either shipped back or just sits in a warehouse like the latest Raiders of the Lost Ark, just sits there.
Just down that long warehouse of crates is somewhere that's where you're going to find my Kenny Powers jersey from Eastbound and Down.
Yep.
What else is coming up on the show this week?
We're going to talk a little bit more about, or a lot about Elon Musk and his $97 billion bid to buy OpenAI. We're also going to talk about how people are using AirPods as hearing aids. And so instead of going out and buying the $6,000 hearing aid, you go buy a $200 pair of AirPods, and they work pretty well, apparently.
It's I would imagine there's some cons there as well, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, you don't get anywhere near the battery life. It's not quite as good. One other story we're going to talk about, Hank Azaria. He wrote an op-ed to the New York Times about how he thinks AI is going to replace him as the voice actor on The Simpsons before too long. And
I
that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he talks about how when he's doing Chief Wiggins, and if he throws a punch, he's actually throwing the punch when when he's voicing out that character, or when he's doing any one of the characters, he's acting them out. And whereas he's concerned that when the AI does officially or finally replace him, it's not going to have all of that feel, that emotion that he puts into each one of those characters. So it was a real interesting article to just see and hear him talk about it.
You can catch a full serving of Tech Gumbo this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Hat Guy, we always appreciate the time, man.
You bet, Brian.
Thanks. So, I'm gonna be on the phone with Charlie Davis in this segment, but my 7:15 guest is in person, so I'm gonna have to flag you down to go get her. Okay. Yep. In Munich, yeah. Yeah. Not for us. No, it wasn't for us. I feel like starting off the hour saying Jason Kelsey's a bitch. What? Oh man. I went a little bit harder for leg day yesterday, and yeah, it is showing up this morning. Decided it was time to step it up, paying the price. I want to lose the weight, it's got to happen, but damn. $7:05 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We got a busy second hour, y'all. It's going to be back-to-back guests as this hour. We will have our Crime Stopper segment at 7:35 as we do every Thursday. We're going to talk about a new vision for parts of Baton Rouge with Jenni Peters at 7:15. But before we get to any of that, we go right back to the hotline. We got the mayor's chief administrative officer, Charlie Davis, on the hotline with us right now, talking about last night's Metro Council meeting. Charlie, how are you, man?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me on again, brother.
No, glad to have you on. I want to be talking about this topic as much as is humanly possible because it seems no matter how much we talk about it, there's still this level of confusion over what is happening and what will happen or what could happen moving forward. So I appreciate the availability. Let's start with, no, I don't want to start with last night's meeting. I want to start with what the mayor's proposing and how that affected last night's meeting. Is that a fair place to start?
I think that's a great place to start. Or maybe even before that, we can start with the mayor's vision for Baton Rouge, which is that we have to tackle crime.
Of course.
Baton Rouge needs to be a much safer city to live in. Mm-hmm. We have to tackle homelessness. We have to tackle blight. And we have to tackle traffic. Often most of the people listening to the show right now, probably a lot of them are either sitting in traffic or about to be sitting in traffic. Baton Rouge has lots of needs. And we also can have a great library system, but we shouldn't sacrifice all the other needs that our city has just to build a fiefdom around the libraries. And so we're not talking about radical cuts to the libraries. We're not talking about closing libraries. We're not talking about laying off people from libraries. We're just talking about having the flexibility and common sense that people need, that leaders need to prioritize, to plan. If you think about it, there's a very detailed 10-year master strategy for libraries, but that doesn't exist for drainage and it doesn't exist for roads, right? Like we really have to come together as a city and sort of reimagine how we want Baton Rouge to operate. We can keep the status quo if we want, but that's not why people elected Coach Sid Edwards as mayor, right? They elected him as mayor because of his leadership and because of his vision to begin to remake and to change Baton Rouge and make it better, make it the place we all want our kids and grandkids to grow up.
Well, and yes, we can have the best library system in the world, but it does us no good if all the books are floating away because the drainage backed up and the whole thing flooded.
Or if you can't get there because of traffic or if you get shot on the way.
Which actually happened recently. That actually happened last month at the Delmont Gardens branch.
So there are lots of needs. And that's not to say that, look, man, believe it or not, I've got thousands of books at my house. We are huge readers. And I was a kid and I've read the entire encyclopedia at my house. I absolutely love books. But when you can't love books more than you love the people that read those books.
Well, and there's a second component to this, Charlie, and that the library is not just a collection of dusty old books. It is also a community hub as well. But I would make the argument that we've seen upgrades to the library recently to a much greater extent than we've seen upgrades to drainage or traffic.
There's no doubt about it. I haven't heard anybody bragging about the road system, in Baton Rouge. For those of your listeners who travel, and I'm sure most of them do, when I go to North Carolina or Texas, you realize that in most cities, their side streets are the same size as our major arteries,
right?
Our major arteries, right? Our roads and infrastructure are really an order of magnitude smaller than they should be. And that is not a problem we're going to fix in a few months. But if we don't put some major initiatives around infrastructure, around economic development, we can't change this city. It's just going to stay gridlocked.
All right. Now, that being said, the 11.2 mills, I believe that's the right number, the 11.2 mills that go to the library were voted on by the people. We, the people, said our money's going here. So this proposal is ultimately going to have to go through the people, but I want to rewind back to last night. What was up in front of the council last night that ended up not getting a vote?
So there was not seven votes to move the library's proposal forward. And there's lots of different numbers floating around, which is a little confusing. So originally there was 11.1 mills. There's been 10.5 mills. There's been 9.89 mills. Sometimes the millage changes over time, gets rolled forward or rolled back as property values change. And this is still the people's decision, right? In a representative form of democracy, we elect leaders, city council members, and a mayor to propose a plan. But in Baton Rouge, the voters still have to formally go to the polls and decide where they want their tax dollars to go and how they want them to be dedicated. And so 40 years ago, the library system was really struggling, right? And at the time, in the mid-'80s, right, we're also fighting communism and the Soviet Union and lots of different things, right? We didn't have a homeless problem in Baton Rouge, right? We didn't have 40 years of undevelopment on our interstate system, our state highways and our local highways. So probably in 1986, giving the library funds a dedicated millage was probably a great idea. But over time, the priorities of the city have shifted, but the funding situation hasn't kept up. And so all that happened last night was that the library's proposal was not advanced. And now we have about a month before the city council meeting comes up when the mayor's plan can be fully discussed. And then it won't get voted on by the people until October. So this is not the end of the conversation. This is just the beginning of the conversation about how the citizens of Baton Rouge want to see their city grow and prosper and what they want to invest in.
I do want to clarify one thing that the mayor said on this show, I believe it was on Monday. He was calling this the biggest tax cut that Baton Rouge has seen in a while. How can we call it a tax cut if the funds are just being redirected?
So the funds are being more than just redirected. They're also being lowered. So the mayor also wanted to propose a tax cut. Now, the citizens can come back and say, hey, no, we want to raise our taxes. And that could still be discussed. But the specific proposal from the mayor was to lower the millage. It's to repurpose the money and to spend it better and to be more efficient. I mean, when you step back and think about the entire size of the city parish government, it's still over $1 billion that's flowing through the city, right? And so one of the best things that we can do is do the same thing that families do and do the same thing that businesses do, is that on a rolling basis, you reevaluate your priorities. Maybe this year you need to spend $20 million in the library, but maybe next year you should spend $500 million on new infrastructure and drainage and roads. I mean, when the water comes up, your priorities shift. You have people in North Baton Rouge who don't have grocery stores, right, that they can get to. And so think about the optics of living in an area where you have a book about oranges and apples, but no actual oranges and apples.
Well said. Last one before I get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time, is that transparency. What level of transparency is the public going to get when it comes to actual numbers for every dime that rolls through the library and every dime that the mayor president wants to use?
So our proposal is already very detailed, and as we get closer to the first vote about a month from now, and especially in October, we'll be rolling out not just the details and the big picture on what's going to go to infrastructure, what's going to tackle mental illness, right? How are we going to look at roads? How are we going to look at economic development? But also some debt that's going to be paid down that will also free up, additional resources. So we'll be very transparent, and I'm hoping the library will do the same. Hopefully they'll share their detailed budget as well.
He is Charlie Davis, the Chief Administrative Officer for the City Parish of Baton Rouge. Always appreciate the time, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Yep, absolutely. We are due up for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to move over to have an absolutely fun conversation. Jenni Peters is in the house. Before we get to that break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. You travel for business? You tired of that drive down to New Orleans sucking up so much of your time and the price of parking once you get down there and the rude TSA people and the maze you got to go through to get to your flight? How about looking in your own backyard? How about looking at Baton Rouge Metro Airport? Flybtr.com is the website. When you're taking a look at mapping out your flights, don't just look at the flight itself. Look at the whole experience. When you factor in an hour and 20 minutes to get physically to the airport down in New Orleans and an hour and 20 minutes to get back, and the parking costs and everything else that goes into it, Baton Rouge Metro Airport is it's a pleasurable experience to fly out of Baton Rouge Metro. And it saves you time. And it's in your own backyard. And you're fueling your own economy. So whether you're planning business travel or mapping out that family vacation for this summer, flybtr.com. Likewise, always. You doing well? The video looks great.
Thank you. Team effort with some of the most talented people back there.
Oh, okay. Who did it?
Digital FX, Greg.
Okay. I've heard of them. I don't know if I've worked with them, but I've heard of them. How's response been?
Real good. Really good. Ongoing conversation.
Well, and I think that's the part that everybody's getting wrong. This is the beginning of the conversation, not the end.
Yeah. You know, the good news is the people city allocate funds for us. That's what the time to pay, and you don't pay something you don't do.
Yeah.
The timing is good as well. It's back out. You know, and I've been working with the chamber on, how do you make that reach better, and I think folks in the past.
Oh no, so do I. Utilizing those parts to stay with. Rec has to be all things all people.
You know, Brack is reality. Story. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I think he likes to see it happen. It's just money.
So we're all. We're at 716 at Talk 1073 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So, bumping around the daily report the other day. I believe it was yesterday morning's daily report. And just going to read to you from it. Varsity Sports founder and owner Jenni Peters is reimagining the grassroots plan that she launched last year to align with what she believes is a new vision for the city. Envision Baton Rouge is a collaborative initiative where locals can share ideas and visions for improving the city's parks and walking paths. It focuses on the Perkins Road Underpass, Brooks Park, and City Park. She's in studio right now. Jenni, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you having me.
No, always. Let's scooch up. Get right up on the microphone there. It's I always appreciate you coming in. And because it's always fun discussion. Because you're looking ahead, you're looking forward.
It is.
Yeah. What is Envision Baton Rouge?
Well, it's just like you said, it's a grassroots effort. It's people that would like to see parks and paths in Baton Rouge to be all they could be. I say, why not in Baton Rouge? People go all over the country and say, God, that was such a cool park in Greenville or in Nashville or something like that. And they say, why not Baton Rouge? And I ask them, why not Baton Rouge?
And we have, so Breck has a number of facilities that I absolutely adore. Highland Road, probably the number one because my daughters run across, all my kids run cross country. So Highland Road's probably number one for me because when you get out there, whether it be, for practice or Saturdays for the meets or whatever, you see it firsthand. You see the folks that are on the playground. You see the folks that you hear the pickleball in the background, for crying out loud. You got the dudes playing frisbee golf over here. You go around the corner, they got rugby going on, and all the meanwhile, you got all these middle school kids running their 2 miles. It's such a great example of how active and together a community can be. Everybody doing their own thing, just vibing. Bringing that into the heart of the city, I think, is the next part of the conversation, and I feel like this is where Envision Baton Rouge picks it up.
It does. Like you, I'm a great admirer of Breck and have used all of those things. And, cross country, of course, is, very near and dear to my heart. But, the thing is that the voters of Baton Rouge have said, yeah, we love our park system. We voted for another 10 years of millage to fund that. My question now is, what do you want to do with it? And we've got this 100 acres in the heart of the city that could be, the crown jewel of Baton Rouge. And so let's think about it.
So when this came up last year, one of the bigger points was getting rid of the 9-hole golf course right there. Where is the golf course when it comes to Envision Baton Rouge?
The whole envision thing is really a conversation. It's
Yeah.
asking the city, what do they want now that you've got the funds? And, and you and I talked right before we went on is that, even though Barack has been dedicated a lot of money for the next 10 years, it may not be enough for the type of park that I've seen and talked to people about in other cities. I mean, a mega park is going to take mega bucks.
Well, yeah. Oh, we're going to get to that end of it as well,
Okay.
because I think there's room for growth aside from the public dollars.
I'm not skirting the golf issue at all, and it may be a golf conversation. I mean, that's my point. It may be in my heart of hearts, honestly. I mean, I'm a golfer. I spend my, I went to, tailor-made school of golf for my vacation last year. So
Nice.
it's not, I'm not a golfer. It's just, I think, there's room for kind of the new concept golf, the pitch and putt like they have in downtown Austin.
And so that's what's different about this time than last time when I was, and it's a wonderfully made video. If you haven't seen it, the Daily Report's got the link to it. We'll put the link to it when we post this interview online after the show is over with. But the pitch and putt concept there. So Baton Rouge, Breck has 5 golf courses. 2 of them are 9-hole. City Park is the closest 9-hole. Pitch and putt is something we don't have.
Right.
Which would be completely new and a game changer in the conversation.
And it's young and cool and can be lit. And, you bring your adult beverages out there.
Yep.
I mean, if you'd ever go, Butler Pitch and Putt is in downtown Austin, 7 acres in downtown. And it is zooming. People are there. And it's a little bit younger demographic, which, the people in golf will tell you is what they're targeting. Obviously, if you want the game to grow, you need the younger generation.
Now, I don't want golf to dominate the conversation because it's one piece of a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
The rest of it involves incorporating the lakes, utilizing the lakes. So much work is being done. It's not all visible yet. It doesn't look the way it needs to yet. I have a feeling that's going to come together at the last stages of the lake's work. But what were some ideas for utilizing City Park Lake?
Well, in conversations, the grassroots efforts just didn't include people that have these thoughts and ideas and dreams. It's the chamber, it's Baton Rouge Area Foundation, it's Visit Baton Rouge. It's a lot of us that are at the table talking about how can the future look best. And I see that really as a lakes recreational area. I mean, it's the park and the lakes and all of that, because really the next phase of the recreational component of the lake needs to be funded as well, funded, managed, and maintained for the future. And, again, cities that do it well, and that's where I think Baton Rouge needs to go, in the direction of looking at cities that have a similar system and how they've done it well. And a lot of them go to a centrally managed, whether it's a conservancy or corporation, something that makes sure that that's done, 100% quality and maintained for years.
All right, let's talk. And Jenni Peters is our guest. She's the owner and founder of Varsity Sports. Let's talk about the role of a conservancy. Let's talk about what a conservancy is and how it would play a role, because there's a part of this conversation, Jenni, that says, why is this not just Breck's job? But there's another part of the conversation that says, we see so much going on in Baton Rouge where the public is invited to find their role and help. You found your role here to help. So what's the role of conservancy and how they would work with Breck?
Well, Brian, conservancies were fairly new to me a couple of years ago until some of us started talking to conservancies from other cities, and really they're a corporate way for cities to enhance their park systems or path systems or whatever. Because a lot of times the cities themselves cannot fund that with their taxes, or at least to the extent that, that the people with the visions for it want. So conservancies are a corporate way to do it. Somebody comes in, it depends, and they're set up in a bunch of different ways, having to talk to it. But the perfect way is for where the Brecks of the other cities or in this city participate in it. They would participate to the same extent that they participate now, but the conservancy would be responsible for hiring a CEO and, raising additional funds and, anything they want. It's really cool. In some of those, there's a lot of for-profit items in there. There's pavilions where you have weddings overlooking lakes, and, there's coffee shops and there's stuff like that. So it can make money, but it's going to take, a corporation of sorts, and we can call it a conservancy, to really manage that well.
Well, and you talk about a venue for a wedding or greens fees factor into that as well. Everything that you would reserve something for, if there's like when you bring the lakes back into it, kayak rentals, something to that effect,
Exactly.
that can help. It's never going to clear the tab. It's never actually going to make money overall, but it can definitely help lower the burden.
Right. And, and the lakes are a whole nother conversation. we need those paths, those bike paths, those pedestrian paths, because when people come to Baton Rouge, one of the first things so many people do is let's bring them to the lakes, let's go by LSU, and we need to be really proud of that. And the only way we can be proud of that is to really fund it and manage it. So we can raise the funds, but what are we going to do? Who's going to upkeep it? It's I'm sure it's going to a lot of people pass it off to another, but a conservancy comes in here and says this is our job to do this.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought it back around to that, because that's going to be one of the pressing questions: is why is it not Breck's job already?
It probably is Breck's job, or at least a portion of it. The lakes have different ownership.
Sure.
But I think if really just looking at other cities, and I keep saying that just because, I have these dreams of being like a Greenville, South Carolina. They realize that the cities just cannot do all that. All the stuff that I talked about, that's probably a little bigger than, a city recreational department really can handle.
So you got City Park, you got Brooks Park, and you got the Perkins Road underpass.
Right.
How would these things tie together?
Connectivity and paths. I mean, Baton Rouge, could be so much more of a vibrant community if it has paths and connectivity and walkability and things like that. And they're half mile from each other, trying to get under that Perkins Road overpass, which is a project that's hopefully starting this summer, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. And, oh, God, it's going to be so much work in progress. So much going on.
Don't you love that?
So many orange
You don't
cones.
hear that in Baton Rouge office. So much work in progress.
What? To see it actually moving somewhere. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
We got Jenni Peters in with us for a couple more minutes. So let's talk about those that want to get in on this. The idea phase of Envision Baton Rouge. How do folks participate?
I'm not real sure right now. We're at the kind of vision image, see what people think. And if the business report poll is any indication, it's a really good indication that almost 75% of people in the city want to envision a new park system.
We've got Jenni Peters in with us for just a couple more minutes. I mean, would this be something as simple as like, hang on one second. Brittany, can you go let Don in the building? Sorry. Next guest was already here. Would this be as simple as like folks just reaching out and contacting, or is this like is it going to be some kind of online push? Or
well, we have a Facebook group, Envision Baton Rouge, which might be a good start because that's where we're going to keep people updated.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next step is sit down with those city organizations that we talked about, and we've sat down and have a study about if we wanted to do a conservancy in Baton Rouge, how would that look and what will we need to do? And so we need to fund that study. And I'm talking about let's do it in the next couple of months, not, a 5-year down the road study. Let's see what it takes to form the conservancy and how would Breck be a partner to that.
The conservancy itself, who would make that up?
That's where the study needs to go. I mean, I can tell you, I talk to people about conservancies, but I don't want to manage it and I don't want to,
Right.
I mean, we need guidance, and we've looked at other cities. I've talked to Carol Lambright, who was the CEO of City Park New Orleans, who's done some really great things. She got hired away from us by Herman Park in Houston, but she has been giving us some guidance. So I have an understanding, but it needs to go the next step, and the city needs to hire somebody.
And this would be the possibility for the opening of a door to, once we start taking on something like a conservancy, that hyper focus to say, I'm going to make this piece of Baton Rouge better, to where this would not be limited to just this one conservancy taking this task on and picking up the baton and running with it. We could see others like, I don't know, a riverfront conservancy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just different areas of Baton Rouge where everyone agrees we've all been lagging behind, but no one knows how to take that next step.
That's exactly it, Brian.
Before we get you out of here, we got about 2 minutes left with Jenni Peters from Varsity Sports. The video that we got to see, if you were on the Daily Report, or like I said, we'll post up the link to it after the segment, after the show is over this morning. The video, run the folks through a couple of the ideas that, I mean, we touched on golf and I touched on the utilizing the water, but what else is out there? What other possibilities have been talked about so far?
Gosh, there's a lot of things. I know one of the things I'm talking to Breck, whether it involves a conservancy or not, is a public track over at Brooks Park, which we don't have a public track in Baton Rouge, if you can believe that. There's not a single one. And the high schools are protective of it, of theirs.
As they should be. Campuses should be protected.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
But we do not have a public track.
So
how does that happen? I don't know.
How do we not have a public track?
We don't have a public track.
Memorial? No.
No,
Kenilworth? No.
no. So Brooks Park, people don't even know that even exists. I don't think it's in front of McKinley Middle Magnet. It's the perfect setting
Oh,
for
yeah.
that. It's huge, open field. So I've been in conversations, and Breck has had a real open ear to that. It's just again finding the funds and getting it done.
Well, tying Brooks Park to City Park, because
Mhm.
I mean they're basically neighbors. Well, almost. But tying them together, I think would be the beginning of just showing what the potential is here.
Oh, it's huge. People don't like I say they don't even know it's out there. If you clear it out and have a public track with a outdoor workout gym in the middle, which is part of the plans, and it's opened up to the lakes, it just could be awesome.
She is Jenni Peters with Varsity Sports. We made it that entire segment without even mentioning pickleball. I'm so happy about
Pickleball's
that.
huge.
I know it's so infuriating. They're so passionate,
They are. They
unbelievable.
are.
All right, so check out the video from yesterday's daily report, or just hop on talk1073.com, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. After the show is over with, Jenni, it's the beginning of the discussion. Looking forward to having you on every step of the way.
I really appreciate it, Brian.
Always. We are coming up on news, traffic, weather. When we come back, Crime Stoppers is up next. As soon as I saw the video, All right, time for us to get a look at your forecast. Here's WBRZ meteorologist Emma Kate Cowan. My text never went through back to you saying sending Brittany down. I can't have got him. You were freezing. You were freezing. You were freezing out there. Where's that from? Oh. Yeah, I'm moving over to mic 2. Oh, yeah. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're about to get into Crime Stoppers in exactly 60 seconds. I do need to ask you what you're doing for lunch. Oh, wait, no. Let me redirect this real quick. Looking ahead to next week. Celebrate the Lunar New Year with P.F. Chang's. You know where to find them. They're in Town Center off Corporate Boulevard. Look for the giant golden horse. But they're going to be all kinds of specials next week, running through, I believe, April over at P.F. Chang's. You got free pork or shrimp dumplings as part of those specials. But there will be running specials throughout for the Lunar New Year over at P.F. Chang's. I'm trying to, it's the year of the snake. I don't think they actually serve snake. But if they did, it would be great. But you could celebrate the Lunar New Year over at P.F. Chang's. Don't forget, they've always got happy hour specials going on. They've always got bar specials going on. A great spot for a quick lunch. When you think Chinese food, I know sometimes we tend to think about takeout and how that can be really heavy and just sit in your gut and you hate yourself for the rest of the day. Not the case with P.F. Chang's. The ingredients are fresher. The preparation is better. The service is beyond compare. You walk out with a lighter, a little bit healthier meal, in fact, over at P.F. Chang's in Town Center. Look for the giant golden horse. All right, time for Crime Stoppers. Let's go. Oh, okay. Oh, full house for Crime Stoppers today. We got Don Capola. We got Johnny Dunham. Fellas, how's it going?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well this morning. I mean, it's a busy morning.
Busy morning. I had to bring the boss in.
Well, you know why? Because you're about to start shelling out some dollars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor President Sid Edwards decided the other day that y'all just gonna start upping bonuses for the quick turnaround?
Yeah, when the mayor took over and got Chief LaDuff in over public safety, he called us in, me and my president of our board, Bill Lockwood, and asked if there was a way we could raise rewards. Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit, so raising rewards is determined upon how much money we can raise.
Correct.
So we had discussed it. Bill Lockwood and I have discussed it for years about raising rewards, just because the rewards have kind of been the same for a long time. But the mayor and LaDuff, Chief LaDuff, had a good an idea that I thought was worth maybe implementing, and that's raising the rewards for 48 hours. Because anybody watches the first 48 and knows that 48 hours is extremely critical in a homicide investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get as much information as they can within that 48-hour period. So we came to a compromise, and we said, we'll implement this policy, and we're going to call it first 48 rewards boost. And for that 48 hours after a homicide, we will double our rewards, our present rewards. So it'll go from a single homicide from up to $2,500 to up to $5,000. And for multiple homicides, one or more person or two or more people are killed in a homicide, it'll go from up to $5,000 to up to 10,000. I know people say, why do you say up to? There's a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes you might get a caller that calls in, or a tipster that calls in and says they give us the name of the suspect.
Yeah.
Another one may call in and say they know where the location of the weapon that was used in the crime. So for that one particular homicide, you may end up splitting because both of those tips helped lead to the arrest and indictment of the perpetrator. And we pay homicides, we pay upon indictment. It's the only crime that we wait till an indictment, just because we want to make sure that the information pans out, that it leads to a bill of information from the grand jury, and then we pay. So it usually takes a month or two before you may get payment, but you will get that money.
Okay, so I don't want to make it sound like the lottery, but if more than one person has the winning ticket, the prize gets shared. Is that
usually the first person that calls in gives us the information on the suspect?
Okay.
They're going to get, if nobody else, some people may call in after with the same name.
Yeah.
But we're going to pay the first person that calls. The calls, we know who the first, are given a code number.
Right.
So who called first, who gave us the information quickest. So in that case, that person that called first will get the increased reward amount, as long as they call in within 48 hours of the time the homicide occurred. So,
and as long as that information is accurate,
okay. Accurate, and leads to an arrest.
It leads to the arrest.
So we don't want the listeners to think, oh, we had a homicide, let me call and give this information and I win. No, that's not true at all.
Right.
We work hand in hand with investigators to make sure that information is accurate, which will lead to the arrest of the one or ones responsible, and then we'll go from there. But the timing is everything, Brian, and you watch these shows, and there's somewhat truth to that. The first 48 is the most crucial in these investigations, and the longer as time goes on, then it gets more difficult. As we talked about our unsolved time and time again.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just to get people out in front, give us that information. If you're skeptical, make that call. We've been around over 40 years.
Right.
Last year we paid out over $93,000.
Within the capital region.
Within the capital region.
Not broadening out beyond that, just within the capital region, $93,000.
Which is over $23,000 more than we paid in the year before.
Really?
So people are calling, people are using. Last year we solved 9 homicides.
Yeah.
Wow. These
you know what? Don't stop there. Run down the whole. You get the whole list of numbers right there.
Whole list.
Go for it.
9 homicides last year.
Yeah.
Huge. Okay. Armed robberies, 17 armed robberies, 48 narcotics cases, 46 fugitives. The list goes on and on. And the point I'm making is no one's identity has ever been compromised.
Right.
Okay, we've been around for over 40 years. That says a lot. This is not just a nationwide program. This is worldwide, Crime Stoppers. Okay. Pick up the phone, go to the P3 Tips app, go to our website, and get us that information.
344-STOP is the phone number for Crime Stoppers. 344-STOP. Let's talk about that accuracy for a second, because I don't want there to be a deterrent for those. In the moment when you see something,
right,
we want you to say something, but you don't. Accuracy doesn't mean every detail has to be pinpoint perfect. Like if I say, hey, the suspect you're looking for, his name is Justin Bieber. You're going to find him at Rocco's eating a shrimp po' boy. Yeah. And the police arrive there. Justin Bieber's at Rocco's, but he's eating roast beef. Like,
it doesn't have to be that accurate.
Right.
I mean, we get nicknames. You might get a nickname, but that nickname may be tied to an individual. It may be a unique nickname.
Yeah.
And that one tip leads that detective. And we talk to the detectives. We'll say, hey, which tip led you to the information that you needed that helped you? And that detective will say it was that tip. When they called in, whatever the nickname may be, that was the one. And
social media information.
Yeah.
A vehicle, a license plate, anything that you have connecting, clothing descriptions, whatever, pick up the phone and call. And you don't have to call one time. Okay. You may call, oh, I didn't say this, or I just learned of this. So that code number that you're giving, which is your identity to Crime Stoppers, you just say, oh, I want to add to my tip. And so you can call all day. That's fine. We just want that information. And the first step, Brian, is for people to pick up the phone and call.
We've got Johnny Dunham and Don Capola in from Crime Stoppers this morning, talking about a new initiative coming from Mayor President Sid Edwards about doubling up rewards within the first 48 hours. I got to ask, what's the trend on where calls have been in the past? Has it normally been within 48 hours, or is there a lag time in getting these tips?
I'll let Don answer that since he answers the phone more.
So it's all situational based. A lot of times there are calls within that time frame, and sometimes it's weeks after.
Yeah.
Okay, so but with this initiative, the mayor wants these calls to come in now. Again, the longer these investigations go, less likely it is to be solved. And so if gunshots are fired, or you hear something, or you see, or even vehicle tires screeching, and that information is useful to an investigation. Over and over again, we talk, no piece of information is too small. Call. That may be the missing piece investigators are looking for.
Again, the number for Crime Stoppers is 344-STOP. Let's talk about the funding in for just a second, if we could, because obviously, let me say this. Hopefully, y'all are going to be in need of more funds.
Yes.
Where do those funds get generated, and can folks help?
Yes, absolutely. We are a nonprofit, so the funding for these rewards obviously comes through donations, grants, donations, things like that. So you can go to our website at www.crimestoppers225.com. There's a donate button on there. You can donate that way. We are going to have a pickleball tournament coming up soon that we're going to announce as soon as I can get all the brackets and all worked out on May the 3rd and 4th. And we also have our annual law enforcement awards luncheon that we have.
Which we are in attendance every year for that. That is right. Okay. That is
along with the pickleball tournament.
As well, I'm pulling up the calendar right now, Don.
We already checked your schedule. You're clean.
Oh hell, I'm clean.
I told you.
All right, I'm in.
So yeah, we would definitely, and it's a good problem to have. If we paying out more money than the almost $100,000 we paid out this year, we're paying out $200,000 next year. If our reward costs double, that's a great problem to have, because it means we're getting those tips.
Yeah, the ROI is right there on paper. If you're paying out more money, that means more arrests have been made, because the money goes to those that have information leading to an arrest.
Yes, and in homicide cases, not just the arrest, a bill of information and indictment. So the information is good because it's gone in front of a grand jury, and it's they've gotten an actual indictment on that case.
Before I get you out of here, we got less than a minute to go. So how far along are we on this pickleball tournament? Is there a place for folks to sign up already?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
We'll probably by next Thursday when Don's here, we'll have that ready to go.
Okay.
But
you playing?
I don't know. Don beat me so bad last year. I don't know if I'm.
I've never played pickleball before in my life. I've never played in my life.
There you go. You're going to start.
My poor wife, she was not happy with me because I was fussing at her, and I don't think she'll ever play pickleball with me again.
All right. Is it doubles or like I legit don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be doubles. There'll be a men's division, a women's division, and a mixed.
And and different levels. And different 3.0 to 4.0.
All right. Well, as long as I want head-to-head versus Don. This is what
I'm ready.
This is what I want. 344-STOP is the phone number for Crime Stoppers, guys. We always appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Here comes your money now at 750. Oh, holy hell. All right, y'all, while the mics were off, I got roped into playing pickleball for real. So my cousin's really good. My cousin down in New Orleans, the one that owns the CrossFit gym, he's all in on pickleball. And I'm like, dude, you do CrossFit. This is basically like the level of activity in pickleball for you has got to be like watching television. But he's wholeheartedly sold in on it. So I might take a couple weekends to go down there and do a little training, learn the game, put together a little Rocky IV montage maybe. That's what I'm saying. Turn this into some social media content. What did I have here? Death penalty. Damn it, I really want to do this Monopoly thing. Not this coming Tuesday, but the next Tuesday, the Monopoly Baton Rouge edition is going to be revealed. And there's no embargo on the press release, so I think I could talk about the press release. Let's switch to Monopoly. I want to have some fun. I keep asking them to remove this song. Yeah, it's In the Afterlife by the Squirrel Nut Zippers. It's terrible. No, it's left over from that hot minute when America was into swing music in the 90s, and it's the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
I'm over here dancing. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, I don't. All right. It's 7:55. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain coming up next hour. How's crawfish season looking? How bad did the blizzard hit us? Crawfish, strawberries, you name it. Also want to talk about eggs, price of eggs. You got bird flu killing off the chickens. Is there a way to insulate Louisiana on that front? That and a whole lot more. That's coming up next hour. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain. As he likes to say, we're going to get in the appropriate amount of trouble. Before we get to our next topic, and this is going to be a little more fun, but before we get to our next topic, got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. All right, Friday is the opening of baseball season. If you're heading out to Alex Box Stadium, if you're doing a little tailgating right near Alex Box Stadium on Nicholson Drive, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, actually where the old Alex Box used to be, is Mathern's. Mathern's has got you covered. Whatever you forgot for your tailgating, whatever you need for your tailgating. Matherns.com if you want to order a party tray or a different platter or whatever, and then pick it up from there. And of course, anything else you need when you're tailgating for baseball, because we tailgate for baseball in Baton Rouge. They've got it over at Mathern's in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. And don't forget, Mathern's is your home all carnival season long, whether you're talking about king cakes, catering trays, or the downtown location is perfect for the parade route. Once the parades start rolling, it's Mathern's. I got a press release the other day, and I'm not seeing an embargo on the press release, so I think I could talk about this. Let's have some fun, Baton Rouge. Hop on the Talk 107.3 Facebook page. I want your feedback. Coming up Tuesday, February 25th at the Shaw Center for the Arts. Per the press release, the media are invited to join the public and other invited guests for the reveal of the ceremony of Monopoly Baton Rouge Edition.
What?
We are getting our own Monopoly board.
I thought we already have one. Hang on.
I don't think we do. Do we?
I think it's just, if we do, it's one of those.
There's an LSU one.
That's it.
That's
the one.
Yep. Mr. Monopoly, Mayor Sid Edwards, Baton Rouge's premier business and nonprofit leaders and top Trump USA will celebrate the release of Baton Rouge's own version of the beloved world's most popular family game. Monopoly Baton Rouge Edition going to be revealed not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So I want some feedback here. When you're talking about when you talk about what you're going to put on a Monopoly board from
That's what I
Baton
was
Rouge.
going to ask.
Right. That's what I want feedback on. What would you put on a Baton Rouge Monopoly board? Not just street names, okay? You get your Boardwalk, your Park Place, right? What would you replace Boardwalk and Park Place with?
The Capitol or Tiger Stadium.
Oh, see, I was thinking like Bocage and CCL.
Oh, come on.
And Boardwalk and Park Place are expensive. Bocage and
True.
CCL are
Okay.
expensive.
Country
okay?
Club. All right.
That's
I
where I
feel
want
ya.
to go with this. But like, what other cultural sites, historic landmarks, businesses you might put on there? What would you put on a Monopoly board?
Pickleball.
Do what?
Pickleball.
Oh, stop. No way. Veto. Totally. Let's get your feedback over on Talk's Facebook Live feed. We'll talk about it when we get to the break at the top of the hour. Obviously, the state capitol's gonna be on there. Obviously, Tiger Stadium. Okay?
Correct.
Obviously, the old state capitol. But let's get out there and figure out a couple more.
Town center, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
It says businesses would be listed on here. Pennington.
There we go.
Pennington should probably be a spot on the board. Here's the fun part, though. If we really want to get loose over on Facebook Live, what are your chance cards going to say?
Stop it. Wait, I'm turning on my mic.
Mm-hmm. What would the chance cards and the community chest cards say? Let's talk over on Facebook Live. On air, here comes news. What you say, Rich? What are you sorry for? What?
Who's going to be the first one to put a hotel on Mohegan Prescott?
No, I want to draw the chance card that says, Stanka rolled you in a tarpolium, lose a turn.
Hey, question, please. Everybody disagrees with me. And I truly believe it. I'm not doing this for attention. I truly believe it.
What?
If it was totally reversed, and Haley Bryan did what Libby's doing, and Libby did what Haley Bryan's doing, you think Haley Bryan's going to be the Grand Marshal of Endymion? Hell no.
No.
You know what it is.
What's the influencer stuff?
Yeah, but the average person, if you're going to...
Hang on, I'm so sorry. This is Brian.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, what's happening? Yep, on my way.
Have a good one.
Good seeing you.
Thanks.
You get tomorrow?
Good seeing you. No, John's back tomorrow. God willing.
You feeling good? What is that?
The bad version of flu. Can you let Commissioner Strain in real quick? Nothing to do with Olympics. It has nothing to do with having 11 million, or nothing to do with gymnastics.
Is that about accomplishment? If Haley Bryan wanted to do that, she could. But she's more focused on her career and helping the team win national titles. Because she's not, and she's making money because she's pretty and she's got a lot. Is that more important? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, they've never picked their grand marshal based off of that.
Have they ever had one of them? No. But where do they pick them off of? You tell me an old guy with Endymion? It's a 58-year parade of word about social power? I disagree, but that's okay.
I get what you're saying. But if that were the case, would they have a false team instead of Libby Dunn? It's about having 11 million followers. You said it's a bunch of horny old dudes. Yeah, all right. That part I agree with.
So we need to see when the next meeting is. Yeah.
Let's crap out your way.
Morning.
Cade, Dr. Strain, Cade.
We had some fires. Actually, they were marsh fires. We did have one up in Angie too. Oh yeah, we had some marsh fires. Wasn't caused by lightning, I can tell you that. It was lighting, all right, but it wasn't lightning.
Huh.
All it takes is a little bit of marsh fire to put that stench in the air, and that fog is confused with smoke, but it's really not. Because if it was caused from smoke, it would have dissipated.
All right, y'all. What we got? Sorry, I was talking to the Facebook Live crowd because I was asking for feedback on coming up, not this coming Tuesday, but the next Tuesday, will be the revealing of the Baton Rouge Monopoly board.
Really?
So what would you put on a Baton Rouge Monopoly board? Oh, yeah.
Probably. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, that's what you got to have. Raising Cane Ribbon Center. Yeah, River City. You gotta have
Old
LSU
State
on
Capitol,
there.
LSU.
Southern, you
Yep,
gotta
Southern.
have those.
Yep.
Yep,
I'd
Baton
put
Rouge, BRCC.
Yeah, I'll put Pennington on there.
Pennington, that's right.
Pennington will be on there. Pierce says we got to have Dearman's. Rocco's has got to be on there.
What about Frank's? I mean, everybody goes to Frank's and pick on some Acme, maybe the Acme Oyster House, and of course, if you're downtown,
Yes.
right, you gotta come downtown. What about Frank's? You know, and again, what about Poor Boy Lloyd's?
Po' Boy Lloyd's another one.
It's been there forever.
Well, Rocco's is the official po' boy this show. So
Ooh,
Po'
say-
Boy Lloyd's is a staple. He's got to be on. That's going to be on there.
First time I had a crawfish po' boy there, and that was probably 40 years ago.
It's 8:06.
And I remember it today.
All right.
Oh my God.
Crawfish po' boy.
Fried crawfish po' boy.
All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Hour 3 and 1 is with Brian Haldane coming your way right now.
All right,
We've got
talking about crawfish.
Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in the house. He's actually not up until next segment. We got Cade Wassan taking over on the board. So our third hour starts with This Day in History. Before we get you to This Day in History, got to remind you about the folks over at Cajun Soft Wash. So happy to welcome Cajun Soft Wash into the fold over here. As the temperatures get warmer, as we move into spring, of course, everybody thinks of spring cleaning. Take a look around the outside of your house, especially if you got brick or stucco. Take a look around the outside of your house. You have a little green tinge to it. That dirt and
Right
mold,
below the roof, right on.
that
gosh.
dirt and mold been building up. Maybe you got the up on the roof, in the nooks, crannies, and crevices. Cajun Soft Wash just got you covered. It's safe and effective. Actually, on your roof, it prolongs the life of your roof by making sure that mold and algae isn't eating away at it. And if you go to CajunSoftWash.com, CajunSoftWash.com, click on the tab that says drone cleaning. This is cool stuff. Nothing is out of reach anymore, thanks to the drones they've got over at Cajun Soft Wash. They'll clean your house down, clean your roof down. They'll clean your sidewalks up, your front porch, your back porch, whatever you need. They've got you covered. It make your house look a whole lot better. And of course, when you get rid of that mold and algae, you're making it a little bit healthier around your house as well. And business owners, take note. They do commercial work as well. So if you look at your business's building, if it needs a little refresh, like I said, that same green that's building from the ground up, they can get that taken care of over at CajunSoftwash.com. All right, this day in history. Let's roll.
Yeah, don't do your soffit and fascia 30 feet up. Don't do soffit and fascia 30 feet up on the ladder. No. Let that drum spread. Yeah.
Oh, what you say there, Cade? Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This day, 1689, William and Mary were proclaimed king and queen of England.
Really?
Yeah.
Then they got the university after that?
Probably shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah. 17, I keep saying 19. 1795, the University of North Carolina opens as the first university in the United States. I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah. UNC. They beat Duke there.
That's the problem. Is like when you open up UNC, who do you play?
Yeah. That's back when they played in week 0.
Right.
Like -0, I guess.
Yeah.
1861, Abe Lincoln is elected president of the United States.
Hey, how'd that work out?
Yeah. Well,
too soon?
Maybe so.
Yeah, too early.
1914, the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP, is founded to help music creators make a living from their work and aggravate radio station program directors at some point down the line.
Man. Keeping up with ASCAP.
BMI.
And
ASCAP.
BMI. Oh, my goodness, gravy.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Hey, back to some great things here in February, Black History Month. 1920, the Negro National League is formed, and in 1923, the New York Renaissance, which was the first all-black professional basketball team, is organized. They were known as the Wrens. They became one of the more dominant teams in the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
Yep.
Shout out to the Wrens.
I'm going to get this last name incorrect, but I know the story, and I know the first name, just never knew the guy's last name. 1935, Bruno Hauptmann. He was the one convicted of kidnapping and murdering the 20-month-old son of Charles and Anne Lindenberg.
Really?
And he received the death penalty.
Okay.
Yeah. 1960, France detonated its first atomic bomb in the Sahara Desert. When a gentleman just flicked a cigarette the other way, maybe. I don't know.
Don't think that's how that happened.
Let's see. In 2000, the last Peanuts comic strip was published in newspapers just hours after the death of creator Charles Schulz. And we mentioned yesterday, was it his birthday or his passing?
No, he died yesterday.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So the last one came out the day after.
Here we go. All right. As far as celebrity deaths are concerned, Anthony Scalia.
Well, you're on the death side already.
Oh, skip. I should go to the births first.
Yeah. He died. Yeah. Scalia died on this day in 2016.
So on first birthdays are concerned, British musician Peter Gabriel was born.
Really?
Yeah. Staying in the music world, Henry Rollins.
Okay.
Two different types of genres there. Randy Moss.
And Randy Moss down.
Mm-hmm. Straight cash, homie. I've never been able to correctly pronounce this legendary coach's last name.
Krzyzewski.
Yes. Mike
Krzyzewski. Yeah. Mike Worcestershire sauce. Mike Krzyzewski from Duke.
That is correct.
And was born on this day in 1947.
Mm-hmm. So he was born today, famous Duke coach, and the University of North Carolina was
founded today. So Duke's coach was founded. Duke's coach was born on the same day that the top rival was founded.
They keep scoreboards the whole time.
Yep.
Jerry Springer was born on this day.
Oh, of course, the famous mayor of Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
He did nothing else in his career.
That's it.
Yeah.
No. Tennessee Ernie Ford, country singer.
Okay.
Legendary football coach Eddie Robinson.
Hey.
Born today.
All right.
Robbie Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Bess Truman. She was the first lady of Harry S. Truman.
Yes.
35th first lady of the United States. Chuck Yeager, who was the first pilot to break the sound barrier.
Yes.
I found that interesting. I didn't know the name, but the fact that he had accomplished such a feat, wanted to include him. One of your favorites, Brian Peter Tork, member of the music group The Monkees.
Yes, love the Monkees.
Yeah, great,
fantastic,
great on the elliptical.
No.
We go back to deaths. Anthony Scalia,
of
course, former justice.
Yep.
German composer Richard Wagner.
Wagner. They
Wagner.
pronounce it with a V. Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner. Yes.
Yeah, we would say Wagner.
Wagner. Yeah. National Day. It is Galentine's Day.
Okay. No.
But
Flush it. No, it's not a real thing.
I know.
We're not adopting it. There's no such thing as
At
Galentine's
the gym
Day.
yesterday, there was a social with ladies getting together, and
Don't need it. Don't need it. There's no reason for a Galentine's Day. Dudes are already shafted enough on Valentine's Day. We don't need to add a second holiday just for women.
It was Hallmark created, right?
Yes, but like where the guy's got to hustle, the guy's got to make the reservations, the guy's got to buy the chocolate and the flowers and the jewelry and all the other stuff. And no, there's zero reciprocation on Valentine's Day, so the ladies do not get to add there's zero reciprocation on Valentine's Day, so you don't get to add a Galentine's Day on top of it.
Giving Hearts Day.
Fine.
Cheddar Day.
Go on.
National Cheddar Day.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. And today is our monthly Ag Day.
Yes,
So-
it is. All right, which means we got to take a quick break. Coming back, we got Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in next.
I did see when I was at the Waffle House, in New Orleans last week, real early, there was a surcharge for eggs.
50 cents per egg.
Per egg, yeah.
Per egg.
And I guess that's a nationwide thing for them.
Yes.
Are a lot of places doing that?
No, it's reflected in the price. Yeah. Yeah. Breakfast is $7. Your bill is $22.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to be the easiest thing. Like in Cracker Barrel, like a family of 5 for $20. Everything was $7, $8.
Not no more.
No. Yeah, I was at the gym last week, and on the patio, they were having like a Valentine's Day social. Of all the things that you for someone to spend money.
Yeah. Oh. All right, where's the text from Jen so I can act like we're going to stay on the topic she sent?
Yeah. See what she sent you.
Crawfish outlook, egg prices, springtime coming, pollen is here. Good time to plant trees and get your spring garden ready. Lent is coming up. What's a hooterific Mardi Gras?
Oh, that's my bathroom is Hootie. Hootie's always having a good time.
Okay.
Every day is Hooterific.
All right.
Right? Yeah. So a good time. Let your ears flap in the wind. We used to talk about our hair blowing through the wind, but we don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
That's
It's supposed to be a time of year when my grandpa had an orange orchard. And in spring, when those flowers would start coming out, everything would just smell like the whole yard would smell.
You can get nice crawfish at Rouse's live for $3.75 a pound.
really. So
Yeah,
that's the Valentine. So we're not going to mention Rouse's
Tony's
because
is
that
$4.99.
we're not going to mention Rouse's because I have a grocery sponsor in Matherns. But- No, they don't.
Okay.
And I don't think they boil. But
So, but
818 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize we got going with a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing to our Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. To sign up, visit talk1073.com. All right. Every month we get to get caught up with the world of agriculture. Joining us now is our Ag Commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain. Dr. Strain, how are you, man?
Man, I am doing great. Look, it's crawfish time.
It is.
I'm telling you, look.
Whoa, almost.
No.
Almost.
We got some early crawfish. The frost has come off the pumpkin, right? We've been through our snowstorm, right?
Yep.
The crawfish came out, right? They took their jackets off. They came out of their burrows. They've been eating plenty. And guess what? Now it's time for us to eat them.
So the tradition in the Haldane house is that the unofficial start to crawfish season is Valentine's Day.
Okay. I can understand.
Everybody else is chasing
tomorrow.
Yes.
Right. What's today? Today is Thursday,
13th, right?
You better be ready for tomorrow now.
I'm 100%.
You better have the card. You better have everything.
I'm 100% ready. Yes.
Yes. 100%.
So
yes.
Here's the thing. Everybody else is chasing a reservation. Trying to look, go out and visit Baton Rouge restaurants for sure.
That's fine.
But while everybody else is chasing a reservation and they're chasing, I had a reservation for 6:30. It's already 7:15. No. In the Haldane house, we bring in the crawfish. Oh yeah.
Oh, so do you boil them? Or you go ahead and get them boiled?
We buy them already boiled.
Yeah. I mean, look,
easy peasy, low maintenance.
Oh my goodness, are they good, right?
Yep.
Now you got to sweeten your boil, which means make sure you got some Louisiana sweet potatoes in that crawfish boil.
Yep.
Look, you boil those sweet potatoes, and any you have left, you can actually, you can rebake them, right? Heat them up and bake them, or you can make a lot of sweet potato casserole with it. Oh my!
Have you ever eaten a cold sweet potato as a leftover out of the crawfish boil?
Yes, with butter.
They're good cold.
With butter.
They're good cold.
You got to have a little RB, real butter.
Real butter.
Absolutely.
They're good cold.
I always throw extra sweet potatoes in because I'd like to take them, and then also I'll wrap them in tin foil, and then if I cook something on the grill the next day or two,
toss it right on there.
Oh, absolutely. And this because they're extra flavorful, And also, what you can do. When you put your corn in there with your crawfish and your potatoes and everything, when you're done, if you have, now you're probably not going to have any extra crawfish, but just saying you might.
Okay.
I doubt it, but you might. Then you can peel those crawfish, and then you can take that corn and you can cut the corn off the cob, then those potatoes, and then you can cook that down just a little bit with some butter. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
You talk about it. Look, it's incredible. So now's the time, right? Let's get those crawdaddies.
Okay, so let's rewind the clock back to a couple weeks ago when we had 6-8 inches of snow on the ground. Some folks had a little more than others, but Louisiana saw snow like we hadn't seen in 130 years.
That's right.
Okay, from a crawfish season perspective, what effect did that have?
It just slowed them down for about 10 days.
Okay.
So we're very lucky. We were very lucky that with, the snow that put a blanket of snow, and we really didn't get into the temperature where it was just freezing the ponds over.
Right.
So bad. So that was good. So the crawfish go down in the burrow. They just kind of go back into a hibernation mode. And then what happens is that when things thaw out, there's plenty for them to eat. They come out voraciously hungry and start growing again. So they've really caught back up. And we've got some nice crawfish now. And you can get them $3.75, $4 a pound in that category. That's live. And of course, if you add another $1 or so, you can get them.
$4 a pound is already better. We're way better than where we were this time last year.
Now, because last year we just didn't have any crawfish,
right? Because of the
drought,
right?
The drought. That's exactly right.
We're on year 2 of the recovery phase,
and we're recovering very well. Now it will remain to be seen where we're at closer to Easter, but I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to have plenty. Supply demand is strong and solid, and I think it's going to be an excellent crawfish season. I don't see any hard, bitter cold coming. It's a little cool this morning.
Yeah,
it's 47, 48 out in some areas this morning, but. That's it. No hard freezes on the horizon. So it's going to be an excellent season for crawfish, and we're excited about that.
We got Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in with us. And as the crawfish season rolls on and we see those prices, because the prices don't normally go up. They start high and then come down.
They start high and come down. That's exact. Now, they may bump right there by Good Friday. Just
because of demand.
Just demand in that week.
Right.
And then, then they bump back down. But right now, look, they're very affordable. And, you can shop around. But now everybody's waiting. Of all the questions I get asked every day, the number one question, how to crawfish, right? And they're going to be good. But don't forget, we still got crabs too. And look, those oysters right now, oh my gosh,
but
extra, as long as
they
you
hit the problem, right? They hit the problem with the norovirus.
That's right. But, but they dealt with that immediately, right?
Yeah.
the thing.
Dang this microphone.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't break it yet.
No, you're good.
But health and hospitals, they jumped on that, wildlife and fisheries, and that was one zone.
Right. They isolated that zone to
That's
make
right.
sure everything was coming from somewhere else.
That's right.
Because this couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Right there. Yes.
Not only was it Super Bowl week, but New Orleans had labeled last Wednesday as Oyster Night in New Orleans.
Yep.
So, I mean,
and so that's good. You know, health and hospitals and wildlife and fisheries, they jump on that real quick. That's why they are, they're tagged and they're tracked. So immediately they can go ahead and pick those up. And there's plenty of other oysters from other areas.
Yeah.
So very good.
All right. So I want to stick with the blizzard for another minute, though.
Okay.
Can we move over to strawberries?
Yes.
Did we get hit hard?
We got hit pretty hard. And so we lost the flowers and the berries that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we lost a lot of plants. So with the snow, they had the strawberries covered. The snow puts a blanket on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're getting some nice strawberries right now. There are some issues in the strawberry industry. We're fighting a fungal type disease right now that was introduced, came in out of Florida and other parts about 3 or 4 years ago. We're dealing with that issue, and we have the LSU Ag Centers very involved. Our legislature is getting involved. So we're going to be working on developing resistant varieties and new technologies to treat that particular problem. And it's so, in every crop, you go through cycles where you have to deal with issues. So we are going to have probably a smaller crop.
Okay.
But they look really nice. The ones that we have now are really delicious. So we tell everybody, but look for Louisiana strawberries. When you bite that Louisiana strawberry, that certified Louisiana strawberry, it's sweet all the way through.
Yes.
You see those great big California berries? It's red on the rim, as we say, right? And don't buy those. Buy those Louisiana strawberries.
No, we've done the real time. We've done the cross section to show it off before, and the taste test as well. And yeah, you cut a California or a Mexican strawberry in half.
Yeah,
and
look at the difference.
White down the middle.
White down the middle, and our Louisiana strawberries are they're absolutely incredible and flavorful. And you got to have strawberries. This is time.
Yes.
As we're going into Lent, going into Easter, strawberries. That's what's on the table.
So it pushes the season back by a little bit, or it was everything on
It
time?
decreases production is what it does.
Okay.
And so it's something, and what you have to do, if any of the fields get infected, you have to rotate out of that field. It will not survive in the field without the strawberry. Strawberry is the primary host. And it came in on the strawberry plants that we planted. And so we have to let those fields go fallow where that particular fungal problem was for several years, and try other different methods. So we're trying to get 1, resistant varieties, and 2, rotate the crops out of those fields until we can get a handle. And again, just like any other thing that we deal with in agriculture, so we can put that thing behind us.
We got our ag commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain, and was talking about all things agricultural, whether you talk about crawfish, strawberries, or we're going to get into eggs in a minute. Actually, you know what? We got time before the break. Can we get into eggs right now?
Absolutely. How much money you got?
Not enough.
Not enough. Not enough.
The price of eggs is one thing. The limitations is another. When you go in a lot of grocery stores now saying you can only buy 1 dozen at a time.
There's a reason for that. Last week, the average grocery store in Baton Rouge only got 65% of their order. So with the high path avian influenza, we've lost more than 10% of our total egg producing hens in the United States in the last 120 days.
Okay.
So now we're probably getting up to about 15%. So the bottom line is supply and demand. We don't have the supply. And so for a while we've been pulling out of the warehouses, out of storage, and the inventory has been shrinking. And now our wholesalers simply don't have enough eggs to deliver to make the full order for the grocery stores. So eggs, the reason they're so high is, again, limited supply, consistent demand has driven up the price. That plus 40% of the hens that lay eggs are laid or under, quote, the California model, which California set all these requirements for cage-free eggs if you're going to sell eggs in California. 40% of the hens in the United States are raised under those conditions, which raise the price because they have to have access outside. They're not in cage, they're, quote, cage-free. However, being out there, exposure, outside of the hen house is one of the predominant ways you can get avian influenza in the hen house.
Right. So
we've lost, the majority of cases where these turkeys too, and hens become infected is contact with wild birds. So overall, from the increased cost due to the California model, plus general input costs, like everything in agriculture, and high path avian influenza wiping out a significant portion of our hens. We don't have eggs.
All right, wait. I want to make sure I'm understanding this right because you covered a lot of ground right there.
Yes.
Essentially, you're saying that a good chunk of the bird flu contraction of the bird flu or the avian flu, it comes from the cage free. Like you're more likely to contract.
You're more
likely.
likely. That's right.
Oh wow.
So because you got all right. Let's get back to how you get the avian influenza. You have wild geese, predominantly wild ducks,
right?
Wild birds interact with the poultry. So they do that basically outside the hen house. That's one of the predominant ways it can get into the hen house, right?
Right.
Or so in hen houses that are totally enclosed, they have air filtration systems, cooling systems, air filtration systems, which doesn't eliminate, but reduces the potential that virus can get from a sick goose that is close to the hen house, and that virus going across the air cells and into that hen house and spreading that way. So this is a very, very, think about this.
Reminiscent of how COVID got into the nursing homes.
Well, but this virus is far more infectious.
Mm-hmm.
If a group of hens, if a poultry house gets infected, if you don't shut off those air vents immediately, another poultry house 8 to 10 miles away can get infected from the virus in that hen house. So now change your whole mind about infectious disease, right? So birds, you got geese flying over a hen house, right? Virus from those geese can get down on the ground and into the hen house. They have a pond by the farm. Those geese land in a pond. When they take off, they can shed virus. They can get into the hen house. So the old thing that for me to give you the flu, I got to sneeze on you.
Yeah.
That's not the case with high path avian influenza.
Across the block.
I could sneeze for 10 miles.
From the river center and back.
Yes.
All right, we got a break. News is coming up. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain continues next.
Yeah, change your whole model disease theory.
No kidding. Jeb said, "Oh, Jeb, no. Jeb says, I'm sorry, California strawberries taste better. If they're white throughout, you're buying the wrong ones. The Louisiana berries are always sour and tart, better for baking and pies." I completely disagree with that.
No.
Completely disagree.
No. We're not eating them California berries. They're nasty.
I've got to figure out how to make this computer stop going to sleep because I have my clock on the computer and it won't allow me to readjust my settings.
Let me tell you something. The artificial intelligence, pretty soon not only going to tell us when to go to bed and when to get up, it tells us everything else.
I'll be happy when AI puts me to bed.
There you go. That's it. Did you see that article? Open a new thing for crawfish shells. Coat eggs. Make them last longer.
Keep eggs fresh for longer using crawfish shells. I did not see this.
That's a good funny for you. Remember Larson, his jokes?
Yeah, Far Side.
Yeah. And then they stealing eggs.
No.
It's happening. Yeah. They're breaking in, stealing eggs.
Remember when the only eggs getting stolen were Fabergé?
Yeah. They leave those now and get the good ones. What you see? Here's the other issue. Flu's trying to move into humans.
The bird flu?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, didn't we have someone die from it here in Louisiana?
Yes. Jennings. This is a new case in Nevada. Went from an infected cow to a human. And it's the same variety that killed the guy in Jennings. It's trying to jump. So, here's a report that shortages. Last week, Walmart they used to average 150,000 eggs, dozens.
Yeah.
They got 73,000 dozens. Drusilla, instead of normally gets 400, got 401, ordered 1,000 dozen. Walmart College ordered 2,000 dozen, got 663. I don't see Costco here. Albertsons ordered 1,000 dozen, got 632. Dollar General's, 5 stores, no eggs. That's how it's getting in the turkey farms because they're open. Those birds come in and commingle with the turkeys. No turkeys. Yeah. We got to vaccinate these birds. We got to stop it because this virus is trying to jump to us.
Yeah.
The whole flock will be gone within 48 hours. By the disease. They'll die. No, they'll die. You try to get ahead of it, but they're going to die. And when they die, the amount of virus goes from here to exponential, right? Whole goal is decrease that virus. Contain it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You compost them on site well and where they lay eggs, you got to physically take them out the cages. There's no button you can push to open all the cages if they're in cages. And then they have to be disposed of properly. Yeah. Then you got to, once you get it all out, you got to clean it. You got to wait about 2 months. Disinfect it again before you reintroduce something.
That whole other process takes so long for them to get back.
Well, you also got to have hens that lay eggs that raise hens to lay table eggs. You have poults, right?
Yeah.
So this is up the whole system. So to get an egg, you got to have a hen that's old enough to start producing eggs, right? And so you got that hen comes from an egg that came from another chicken, a super chicken, right?
I don't want the vision of no super chicken.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Super chicken?
Super chicken?
Super chicken's worth money, baby. Ooh, super rooster.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What?
We're gonna pick the conversation back up here in a second.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So, yeah, we can talk about super chicken.
All right, we're looking at a high of 62 today. Definitely gonna be a little bit cooler today. A high of 62, overnight low of 43. We top out at 62 tomorrow. Now tomorrow night into Saturday, that's when the chance of rain starts to roll through. Later Saturday is when you're really gonna see the thunderstorms coming through. So as far as opening day at the box is concerned, this is going to be a case of the earlier the better. So they've got the 2 p.m. start time right now. As far as chance of rain is concerned, that's looking pretty good. Now, Saturday, your high, get a load of this. Your high Saturday is 82 degrees, and then your high Sunday is 57. So we're going to go 62, 82, 57. Overnight lows going to be 59, 53, 35. The variance on temperature over these next few days, if you didn't already have a steady cough, buckle up because you're about to. Next week, we're going to see highs in the 50s, maybe 1 or 2 in the 60s. By next Thursday, we're looking at a high of 48. Right now, that's where we're at. It's 48 and cloudy in downtown Baton Rouge.
Internship program. Paid intern. Months. Full time. 2 months.
838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Don't forget, coming up Sunday, Coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU Tigers hit the road to face Texas. That will be a 2 p.m. start time. You can hear the Tigers all season long on your home for LSU Women's Sports Talk 107.3 FM. We've got Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in with us. As we were getting to the break, we were talking about the price of eggs. I want to broaden the conversation out a little bit on that topic, though, by asking this question. The bird flu is basically everywhere, right? There's no.
Well, there's different varieties.
Okay.
So there's the field strain that is basically everywhere. It's in the wild bird population, ducks and geese predominantly, but it's out there.
Yeah.
And so, and it can spread to backyard chickens. You know, it can spread to your different flocks. And if you saw a couple of weeks ago, a cat that was from Lower Plaquemine Parish contracted the disease, right? And so it has a predilection for cats. And so if you have your feral chickens, right? If you have your own chickens, if you turn them out and let them go out into the pasture, if they interact with any of these wild birds, they can get that field strain. But there are other strains, and we have in different varieties that the virus is trying to mutate. And so as you saw in Nevada, there was the same type of virus that infected the gentleman in Jennings, Louisiana, as also someone in Canada. And so it's trying to mutate. So we look at the different strains of the virus, but the case in Nevada, the new case in Nevada, that particular strain, the same similar strain that we saw here in Louisiana, got into a dairy herd. Then from the dairy herd infected a human with that particular clade. What we're concerned about is that this virus is trying hard to jump species.
Yes.
So we talk about avian influenza, high path avian influenza in birds, but it's in it got into over 900 dairy herds. And so it's high path avian influenza, bovine variety, and then it's trying to get into the human population. So we're trying and we're working, hopefully we will have some vaccines very soon to vaccinate our dairy cattle for this. Now we vaccinate our dairy cattle for many other diseases too, right? They are vaccinated.
Okay.
Vaccinate them to stop this, but also to vaccinate our poultry to stop this disease, because the bottom line is that if it gets in those broiler houses, it will further drive up the price of poultry, and people need poultry and eggs as part of their diet. And you've seen what it's done, to the egg prices. And for sure, we want to keep it out of the human population.
So if we're at where we're at with the egg prices, what's the likelihood that we're going to be somewhere soon where the price of chicken is through the roof too?
Estimates by the USDA on egg prices is that they will continue to rise and could rise another 25% over the course of a year so we can get a handle on this. If it gets into the broiler houses, and so far our broiler houses, we have not had a major problem with most of the broiler houses. But if it gets into the broiler houses, as it did a number of years ago, you could see, the price of chicken go up to where, a fryer chicken is $10, $12. So we've seen that. So we're fighting very hard, and we've instituted many, many, many biosecurity measures. That's the key, to keep it out of the poultry farms, out of away from the egg laying hens. It's biosecurity, because we're not vaccinating.
Right.
Now once we start vaccinating, we'll continue biosecurity, but we got to stop it in its tracks. And then the other discussion is there a way to go and vaccinate the next generation of wildlife of basically ducks and geese while they're still nesting in Canada, using aerosols or whatever, try to stop that virus, the next variety from coming down. So what happens, you have ducks and geese that come over from Asia into Canada, and from Canada down the flyway headed to South America. And so they bring in virus, the new varieties of virus. And then when it goes down towards South America, there's a mixing of virus and we get a new one. And so we've got to stop that whole cycle and basically protect our commercial flocks, our dairy industry, and our people from getting exposed to these viruses.
You mentioned a case in Nevada. We had the case in Jennings.
Yes.
So what level of concern should there be on this escalating and spreading on the human
So I
end?
tell everybody, if you see a wild bird, especially a duck or a goose, or, if it's sick, leave it alone. Do not touch it.
Yeah.
In the cases where we've seen this get into the backyard flocks, generally there's a sick goose or sick duck. Someone gets it and tries to rehabilitate it. And, one gentleman, he got him, tried to rehabilitate it and put that sick goose in the same building, but he had his own chickens, and that wiped them all out. Leave them alone. And if you see any sick wildlife, don't touch it, especially any mammalian species or bird species. They're sick, leave them alone. Now, if you go duck hunting, and if you own, a dairy, or you own, a poultry house, make sure that you change clothes. You don't wear the same shoes. You wash up, you scrub up. You don't want to take the chance of bringing any virus from the wild back home. That includes once you process the birds. So again, good, solid, sound biosecurity. And if you have pet chickens, one of those chickens get sick, right? Look, leave it alone. Especially if it's respiratory, leave it alone. Okay, don't be handling it.
So for those that own chickens, what preventative measures do they need to be taking?
The best preventative measures are to keep them from making contact with wild birds, ducks and geese. So, if you're out there and if you let them go out in the pasture and you throw grain out there, you're basically inviting ducks and geese to come by and visit.
Yeah.
Okay. So for right now, the best thing, leave them in the hen house. Don't turn them out, because again, that increases the possibility of interaction. We had one particular case where someone had been duck and goose hunting. They processed the geese, and then they disposed of the waste, but their feral chickens found it, made contact with it, and all got sick.
Unreal.
Right.
This is gonna get worse before it gets better.
It's probably going to get worse before it gets better until we have a vaccine. That's the bottom line. Or the other option is to try to breed varieties of poultry that are inherently resistant. That being said, this virus is trying to mutate. All the indications is that it's trying to mutate. A virus is designed to survive, right?
Yes.
So we've already seen this. It started off in 3 herds in the Texas Panhandle, 3 dairy herds, 3 high-path avian influenza in dairy cattle. It's now spread to 900 herds plus.
Oh wow!
In 19 states, and so it's more present. And then we see now direct in the Texas Panhandle, it went from a bird to the dairies, right? Because they're out there together, grazing the same pastures. And then it was spread dairy to dairy because it has a predilection to get into the mammary system, and it's spread through raw milk. So raw milk and the milking process is how it's spread. But the thing about this virus, the reason it got away from us is that it can be shed for several weeks before the cattle get sick. Now you think about that. So as they would move dairy cattle from farm to farm, right? Which is a normal thing. Then it would go from this farm to this farm.
And spreading without knowing.
Spreading without knowing, or on the farm workers. And it went from the farm workers in the Panhandle into some of the poultry houses.
I want to go back to the mammary part of this with the bad milk. Is that bad? I mean, is that bad milk a danger to us, or is it through the pasteurization process?
Pasteurization kills the virus.
Yeah.
But raw milk, if it's infected with avian influenza, can be highly infectious to other species. Cats, specifically, other cattle, potentially people.
Well, wait,
right?
but if this is a disease that transmits through the air, like digesting it, is that the same as breathing it?
It's not the same, but you can get it through ingestion, right? Or by breathing it, or by getting it on your hands and touching any quote mucous membrane. So it goes to the mucous membranes. So again, you're talking about the flu, but you're talking about a flu that is very different than what we've always, think of the common human flu. But you know what the difference is between human flu, avian flu, swine flu, bovine flu?
What?
Predominance of the genetics.
Okay.
The flu loves to to go and change. So we're always watching it. You know, from the dawn of time, influenza has moved between human population, swine population, and birds.
Okay.
Right? It's an ancient virus.
There's no way we could put COVID masks on our chickens, is there?
Well, actually, that's why we have them in the hen houses, behind cooling cells with filtered air.
I just
Same
wanted to
thought
put that
process.
visual out there.
Yeah, I got that. I
I
see.
just
Yeah,
want that visual out there.
No. But
Like-
main thing is to protect them from getting contact with the virus and getting sick. And the other option is that develop a very effective vaccine for the chickens for this disease.
We got Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain in with us. We are due up for a break here in just a little bit under a minute. When we come back from the break, we're only going to have like a 4-minute segment. Within that 4-minute segment, I want to talk about moving off of the bird flu or the avian influenza and to what you're putting in the ground and when. When's the time to plant? It is mid-February right now. We're still going to have a couple more cold snaps before we're done. But if you're looking to put something in the ground that you can eat later on, when is the time to do that? We will cover that when we come back. Before we get you to our last break of the show, got to remind you to download the free Talk 1073 mobile app. Find out what you missed each day at talk1073.com and watch us live on Facebook and the Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel, all courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care, walk-in care for minor illnesses and injuries, but probably not the bird flu. All right, your money now is coming up right now. We will get one more check of traffic. We're going to come back right after that. We'll close things out with our Ag Commissioner, Dr. Mike Strain. That's coming up next right here on Talk 1073 FM.
Yep. Now's the time to plant.
Yes. Oh, so as soon as my mom's house is done, we're building an add-on to our house.
Good. Yeah.
And we're almost done. As soon as my mom's house is done, I'm putting satsumas in my backyard.
Yep. Make sure you put it on what is it, the south side of the house? Yep, so you can stop the cold north of air. Yeah, they tell you kind of where to put it around the house if you can.
So what we got in our backyard is
you need a somewhat protected area if you can.
A house.
Yep.
Goes like this. Carport's here.
Yep.
Mom's addition is here.
Okay.
So I want to put them along the fence line here.
That's right. Kind of a protected area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can grow them in pots so they get a nice big base.
Yeah. That's where I screwed up last time. I put them in the ground too soon.
And they died.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. Once they get established, they're tough.
Yes. But you got to get them.
You got to get them. I like to see at least 3 inches. So I've got some. We're going to plant. I'm Meyer lemons. Man, we get them. They're big. We plant them and that freeze pops them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful and delicious. Oh my God. It's not like picking that Meyer lemon right off of the bush, coming in there and oh my God, and putting it on food. Well, that Meyer lemon.
Put it on food. How about mixing it with vodka? That's. I can never get it. It's a different kind of sweet.
It is. It's really good. It's really good. Put on your snap beans. On a lemon. Oh, grapefruit. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. My aunt would eat that. Oh my God. She'd eat that for breakfast. Grapefruit. But she'd put sugar on it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna let Moon come on, are you?
Always. Look, how else can I get people to appreciate this show unless I have that show on after me?
I understand now.
Yeah, Meyer lemons. I really went in on that. So that was another one I planted too soon as well. But that one, even after I planted it survived for what I want to say 2 years. But it was maybe a dozen lemons each time, maybe. Yeah. Palm Sunday. Oh, the fair. We have palms for the fair.
He got a Mercy hat, and long story short, I'm like, oh, holy cow! Like I just made the conversation, and because of that, he's like, oh, you got to take this fertilizer, you got to find like the I guess
the crown.
Yeah, and I had to get up there and spray something or whatever the case may be, and he was super helpful. But he's a Mercy guy, and comes out and he puts father calls him every year and wants to be decorated and stuff like that.
Why the hell do we have palm trees at the fair?
I don't know.
I've never seen them.
They're kind of in places where you almost like prop up like a garbage can or kind of in where you can have some small shade. There's not many. I noticed them last year.
I wonder if it's by the bougie tents.
They're in these like
The bougie tents.
So there's 2 rows of, you can rent out a tent for the Mercy Fair.
Yeah.
Where like you get the tent, like 4 or 5 families will go in and like let's get a tent together. And you know you deck it out with your tailgate chairs and whatever, but it's kind of the home base for the kids. Like you go run to your rides, but come check in every couple hours and whatnot. And it's no, they're big, but like that other row of tents that goes on the backside of the football field, where they pay a butt ton more for those, because they're all along the midway. Yeah, where our tent was, where my tent was, those are the cheap ones. The expensive people, the Bokosh people, they're on the other side over there. I mean, there's a division even in getting a tent at the school fair.
No. Oh, what? You want to see money? Go to LSU football game, and those motor coaches that are on South Stadium Drive.
Oh yeah. Dude, I worked the LSU games. I work for LSU Sports Radio.
I think it's $15,000 or $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, and you got to book it years in ahead.
You see the way they deck them out with the, they bring out sofas. They got one puts a ceiling fan up in the tree.
Oh, they never leave the coach. Yeah. Like, whoa. Guy called
Which
Mike.
It's infuriating though, because if you're watching the game on TV and you're just outside the stadium, you'll hear everything that happens from inside the stadium 90 seconds before you see it on TV, because you got the delay, the latency. Yeah.
Yes. Super chickens.
856 Talk 103 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. One segment to go here with Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain, and it's a short segment. So let's get into it. It is still February. Might have another cold snap or two, but is it about time to start planting?
Absolutely. You get to the 15th of February, and what I tell everybody, download the LSU Ag Center Vegetable Planting Guide. It's got everything in it. It'll tell you when to plant, depending on what part of the state you're in. So it's got South Louisiana planting dates for spring on the 15th. Snap beans, pole beans. You can start off with beets and broccoli. Cantaloupes are good for right now. Cauliflower, celery, corn is now it's time. Cucumbers next month. Mustard green, turnip greens, kale. You can also okra. Now is the time. Maybe wait to the end of the month for your okra, and you can start on potatoes, Irish potatoes. Get them in the ground. And of course, when you look at summer squash next month, tomatoes next month, watermelons the 15th of next month. You got to get them in at the right time. But now you can get this guide, everything you need to know, and they can also recommend varieties, which type are best suited for our soil. So I keep a copy of this. Actually, I keep it in my barn, and we are soon we will be tilling up our gardens, getting ready. Now is the time. We've already tilled some up, and we're going to be doing some more tilling and try to get as much as we can in between the middle of February and the middle of March.
Look at this thing. I got it.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's a 12-page guide, but they've got this breakdown, this chart here that tells you not only South Louisiana planting dates for spring and fall, but depth to plant seeds, space between plants,
and days till harvest. It's wonderful. And then you go down further.
Yeah.
It'll show you recommended varieties. right? For
Look at that.
beans, lima beans, Dixie butter pea, Fort Hook, Henderson bush, the thorn green. What types of broccoli? Arcadia, diplomat, Everest, cauliflower. What type? Corn. Look, your sweet corn, your gold queen, your Seneca, silver queen, golden honey, honey and pearls. Your ambrosia. My brother likes the ambrosia. Your bodacious, right? Yeah, you got to have bodacious variety.
What's a bodacious?
Bodacious corn, absolutely. Right. Yes. And what type of cucumbers?
Yeah.
Plant. You got the General Lee, the Olympian, of course, and garlic, Creole Italian. Or with different types of mustard greens.
What's the easiest thing to grow? Easiest thing, the most low maintenance.
Tomatoes.
Like, if I don't have a green thumb,
try your tomatoes. Look, if you don't have a green thumb, if you don't have a garden, get your big pot and plant some tomatoes.
Okay.
Right now, the number one mistake with tomatoes is overwatering.
Okay.
Don't drown them.
Okay.
Right. But again, just keep your eye on them. And when it first grows, you pop the bottom leaves off, the suckers, they call them, right? Off, and go ahead and put a rack in there. You can grow tremendous amount of tomatoes in a little bitty pot.
He is Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain, and next time he visits will be the time to put those tomatoes in the ground. We always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you. It's always fun.
Moon Griffon's up next. We'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. That was nonstop. All right, Facebook, we got to get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We got a full docket for you tomorrow. We'll see you then.